And there it is, the Thanksgiving turkey hat. Cheers, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Heavy Metallurgy. We are at number 238. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a great week. Happy Thanksgiving to those who participate in it. Yeah, welcome. Alan, how are you?
This hat's really heavy, but I'll keep it on for a while. I'm doing okay. I'm in the holiday spirit. We got the tree up, we got the lights up, I got the hat completely pimped out, and when I want to get totally buck wild on the freaks, check this crap out. Oh yeah, how metal! And this thing, it's got like a pocket on it, so you can actually keep like a beer or something.
Your catnip
in there. Or catnip, or snacks, whatever you need. I mean, you never basically have to get out of this sweater ever, except if you want to have any dignity.
Well, Ben, what's your excuse? Where's your kooky hat?
Oh, holidays can go down the fucking toilet. I don't care. Yeah. I don't do that shit.
How have you been? Welcome, everybody. The Brain Smasher is back. It's good to see him. I don't think you've been on since the drunken Dark Throne excursion. Maybe you have been. I don't remember.
I did the mortuary drape when I was in Cincinnati with Kellen.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a Friday night. It's been a while since we did the Dark Throne one.
Yep.
Still recovering, still hungover. That was quite a drinking event.
Right on.
But I mean, we did that so well. That was something I had been wanting to do for so long, and we nailed that to the wall. But
you think so?
Yes.
I think it kind of went off the rails a bit at the end there.
Wasn't it A Blaze in the Northern Sky at 17?
16, I think, was Austin's pick for 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight, what's been spinning? Just some stuff we've been listening to. I'm stoked to show some cool stuff off. Mainly the reason I agreed to join was I wanted to show off my sick new decrepit long sleeve. We'll be talking about decrepit here soon.
Very cool. You want to talk about the Brain Smasher channel at all and the Patreon? What's going on over in them parts?
Not a whole lot, really. I've just been doing the podcast. I need to get back to doing some of the vinyl videos, but I'm kind of remodeling, repainting back in here, redecorating and everything. So everything's in the process of being like shoved into the middle, and then we're going to repaint and then put new posters up and everything. So be on the lookout for that if that's your thing.
Room reveal.
Should have some new content up here and there. Just really taking it easy with the online output kind of stuff. Not doing really social media anymore at all. So lucky to have me on tonight, I guess.
I feel very lucky. And like I said,
I'm glad to have you.
Talked to him earlier in the week and asked him. He's like, I knew there was a catch. You were asking me for something. I'm like, no, actually, it'd just be good to see your face. I don't talk to Ben as much as I would like to, and my fault. But it's good to see you on and hear about what's been spinning. Before we jump into that, is there anything, Alan, going on you want to discuss? Oh, I do actually. I'm going to cut in front of you here.
Go right ahead.
Today we dropped a review for the new Perdition Temple. It's a collaborative review with Kellen and Jim, and they go very in depth on the album. So when you're done watching this, or this weekend when you're sitting around doing nothing, pop that on. It's almost an hour long discussion on that album. And Wednesday's album club will be Halloween's Gambling with the Devil, because I'm sick of listening to Funeral Doom and other things I don't like. So this week I want to listen to something that I want to listen to and not be challenged. So
I would have thought you would have gone for my God-given right, since you've
been put off
lately. That
three I wanted to pick.
That one.
There's three I wanted to pick, and I'm like, fuck it. This is the one I've been listening to the most lately. So here we go. But Alan, how about you? What's going on? Anything you want to add before we jump into the fray?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, folks are having fun chatting on videos over on Let's Talk Metal. It's been a crazy week. I hope everybody in the chats had a fun and enjoyable sort of send off to the holiday season. It's Black Friday, and yeah, hopefully everybody got through that all right. I went out this morning, did some shopping. I was in line at the record store at 7:30 a.m. with it being about 28 degrees here, which is subarctic for this part of the world. But it was record store day, but I wasn't there for that stuff. I was there for a different reason, which you can find out more about Tuesday morning, because yeah, it'll take a while to go through that, and I'll explain it over on that channel this coming Tuesday. But it was worth the hypothermia and the standing in line with 36 record freaks all waiting to buy random record store day stuff. And then there was me.
I glanced at the record store day list and for metal, and I was like,
nah, there wasn't much of anything metal related on it. But
the Voivod was interesting. That's
was
one
about
I
the
don't
only
own,
thing.
but I'm sure if they got it in at the local shop, it'd be $50. So I'm like, don't need it. I'm good.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm
there were a
good.
lot of folks in line though, and they were snapping stuff up as soon as those doors opened. So,
I'll tell you what they weren't snapping up. This green bean casserole that got completely crushed at Thanksgiving yesterday. I just wanted to send a little picture for Alan there to see what it's all about. The
Satan
true
would be
spirit of
proud.
Thanksgiving. Yes, he would. Yep. Well, cool. Yeah, it's just been kind of fun to sitting back listening to whatever lately. So Ben, let's start with you. I'm sure I've got a big pile here. I'm sure y'all do as well. Let's just share with the class here what we've been spinning.
Well, some of this is kind of somewhat redundant because I mostly just do collection updates, and mostly what I listen to is stuff that I get in. So some of this is going to be kind of doubled up from stuff that I've done collection updates on. But since I haven't done a what's spinning with you guys for quite a while, I'm kind of reaching back into some stuff that I've been listening to like throughout the whole year. So changing my scope to stuff that I've been just like obsessing over for the last 10 months or so. This has been kind of like my foray back into loving black metal again after just kind of getting like sick of a lot of the same, like a lot of the newer black metal bands lately are just really boring the piss out of me. Everything just sounds so clean and pristine, and I just like really miss the spirit of mediocrity, honestly, from the 90s. And these two releases from like Lycanthropy have been spinning nonstop. I owned this this one way back in the day and just thought this is so generic and dumb, and I wound up getting rid of it. And now 30 years later I regret all of it. So I found a copy of this for you in Europe. This is an EP called The Veils of Sorrow, and this is their only full length called As the Mourners Rise. There was a reissue of this that came out on LP a year or two ago or something, but the remaster was really awful, and I really love the original mix over it. But it's just kind of like vampiric, melodic stuff. It's kind of Emperor Norse core kind of stuff. It's the kind of thing that everyone made fun of American black metal for being back in the late 90s, because we were just so tired of all that rehashed Norse core kind of stuff. But it's really, really quality stuff. Riffs are great. Production is awesome. And I've been just obsessing with this. So this has just been like getting me right back into the same old boring late 90s black metal that I've always been into after having such a just death metal period of like the last 3 years.
I kicked myself because I had that bluish one with the skull candelabra thing that was sent back in the day, and I listened to it once or twice and went, this isn't very good, and gave it away or got rid of it somehow. And yeah, I've seen you singing his praises. I'm like, I wish I still had it so I could, because I'd probably like it a lot more now than then. Right. I was just so surrounded by so much intake. I just couldn't. If it didn't, have dancing bears and unicycles and clowns, and I didn't give a shit because it wasn't interesting. But nowadays I don't need to hear everything anymore. So
a lot of what I'll show tonight is like, I guess I'm really having a renaissance with mediocrity in bands. I'm so tired of bands like trying to impress me and trying to be so original. And like, yeah, you're original if I've only heard 25 metal bands, but I'm going on being a metalhead for way longer than half my life. I've heard thousands of metal bands, and it takes a lot to impress me. And what I just really long for so much is nostalgic connection of bands that I am not super familiar with. So if I can discover something that's just like right in a niche of something I would have liked but hadn't heard, that's exactly what I want these days.
Bargain bin black metal.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, good start. Alan.
Yeah, this hat ain't going to last long, so enjoy it.
I was going to say that hat looks like looks like you're holding your head so it balances. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like compressing the vertebra in my neck. I can feel them
trying to fit Scooby-Doo over your head.
Let's see.
Roinks.
Let's start with something that came in the mail, courtesy of Mr. Worm over there. Had this once upon a time, got rid of it. Mistakes were made. We all do it.
Stupid. What are you thinking?
We all do. I was thinking that it's a very short EP, and I had a shitty turntable, and so playing like a short EP on a shitty turntable wasn't much fun. But got a better turntable now, and now once again have a copy of Agent Steel's Mad Locust Rising EP. Great band, of course, and with a very short original run of releases, just the 2 albums and this, until they came back years later with a different lineup and stuff. But yeah, cool cover art with the big space bug, and this is Agent Steel at their fastest, on the title track. The only flaw with this is that it is short. You've got a 17-second intro, "The Swarm is Upon Us." Then you've got Mad Locust Rising, the title track, which great classic speed metal. That's it for side A. So side A has less than 5 minutes of music on it. Side 2, you've got the cover of Judas Priest's "The Ripper." They do it fine. They stick pretty close to the original. And then you've got "Let It Be Done," "Day at Guyana," which is kind of like almost a prequel to the song "Day at Guyana" as it appears on Unstoppable Force. And so on side 2, you have a grand total of just over 7.5 minutes. So yeah, the whole EP is barely 13 minutes. And I might be rounding up just to get there, but still, very cool one. Marty had an extra copy of it, and when he saw that, I had let one go, he's like, "This shall not stand," and sent me a replacement. So Marty, thank you very much. It's cool to have that back on the shelf. I do appreciate
I saw you going through your list there, and like, he's not getting my blue copy, so I will give him the black copy.
That is fair. That is fair. Something I had completely forgotten about: all the black copies are promo copies. The blue copy was like the commercially available one, and the black copies apparently were all just for sent out to like radio stations. And
well, you got the rare one then. There you go. You're welcome.
I actually think they're about the same. I've never noticed a big difference in like price or availability for them. So yeah, it's very cool either way, and doesn't matter what color it is. It's the friendship that matters.
Absolutely.
I'm in the holiday thing, and we're going to milk that a bit. And
right on.
Aaron's in the chat. So Aaron, I do have a question for you though. For Agent Steel, would you consider it thrash metal or speed metal?
We've already had this conversation on the Discord. I told him that Skeptic's Apocalypse was a speed metal album, and we'll see.
For those who haven't noticed, Aaron did a fun video. Did it come out yesterday? Day before? Aaron's making a case that there is no difference between speed metal and thrash metal, that it's all a Jedi mind trick that you're doing to yourself. So if you'd like to be freed from the bonds of that discussion forever and just say it's all the same thing, man, go check out Aaron's video. As always, he's got some really insightful commentary about just the role of language and how it affects something as fun but trivial as the difference between thrash and speed. So yeah, go check out his video.
Absolutely.
And with that plug done, I'm sending it over to Marty while I sit here and sweat in this giant kitten sweater one more time. This sweater ain't lasting long either. I tell you what, baby, we taking it all off tonight because Daddy getting hot already.
Just wait to see what kind of pants he's wearing, everybody. That's going off too. Anyway.
What pants?
All right. Well, I'm still trying to pick through stuff I bought the last time I went to Grand Rapids. And this little cassette is a release I used to own on vinyl back in the day. I got in a Camelot Music bargain bin for $1. I always thought it was kind of boring. Got rid of it on eBay. I was surprised how much I sold it for. It had like die cut holes in the front of the cover, but Zoetrope's A Life of Crime cassette. They had it at the corner record store for $3.99. I said, you know what? I can revisit that for $3.99. I listened to this today and I'm like, God, I kind of like it. Why did I get rid of it back then? I'm so stupid. I think it was Aaron that said, don't get rid of anything. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have any room down in the basement, and it all would have been flooded on numerous times and worthless. But I think these guys considered themselves to be street metal. Wasn't this is this the Chicago band? Are these guys from Chicago? Or am I wrong? Okay.
Yep. And just a little thing, because someone eventually will yell at us. Apparently, it's pronounced E-trope. Now, why there's a Z-O at the beginning that's silent, I have no idea, but I've done videos on this band before, and I had like 50 comments telling me that the band's name is pronounced E-trope.
Okay. Well, there you go.
No idea.
Huh.
I'm still catching a little flack from slamming on Loss on Wednesday, so I can call it Zotrope and take the heat. It's all fine.
Okay, fair enough.
E-trope is fine. I was quite surprised. The end, it starts really kicking ass at the last track on side 1, Unbridled Energy, and then moving into side 2, it's just head banging stuff.
Mhm.
It doesn't suck. It's really, really well done. Hard driving. It doesn't really go much faster than just a head banging type of gallop, but it's just really solid. I like the singer. I like the riffs. I like the songs. Yeah, I kind of wish I kept the record. But I don't know. I probably wouldn't have listened. I'd probably just be sitting in my collection, not getting listened to. So I'm glad I re-familiarized myself with the tape. This was kind of a cool find. OG press of it on from Combat. Plays fine. It's always a gamble when you see used tapes in a store, because you just know that shit isn't going to be right. But hey, I got a couple here that actually worked out fine for me. So E-trope, Life of Crime, is my soiree into the evening. Back to you,
good,
Ben.
Good album and good band.
How do you get E-trope out of that, though?
I don't know.
I have no idea. It is weird, but I don't know.
So is Snow White? Are they white?
maybe it's a Chicago accent thing or something. That the Z is silent if you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
And Ben, before you get going here, Vacuous Depths. I actually also at the same store used in the tape rack. I bought one of your tapes. So I haven't listened to it yet, but it's on my pile to do so. I saw that. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's in our he's in our chat often. So I purchased that as well. So I'm looking forward to spending that. I'm slowly getting closer to it. So cheers.
And
kind of surprising.
Stuff is 25% off today on Bandcamp with coupon code thanks.
Nice.
Wow.
Noggin.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've been just kind of cleaning up my CD collection down in the basement, and a lot of the picks I have today are going to be out of the A box, because that's just like what's on top alphabetically. And there's just a lot of goodies in there to pick from. Pulled out this one.
Classic.
My favorite Amorphous. Just really, really pummeled by this one. I hadn't pulled this one out in a long time. Found it on the cheap in a record store in 2013.
Nice.
And it's the OG Relapse press. I just understanding the transition from abhorrence to what they wound up being is just such an immense, colossal progression. But these songs are so excellent. Austin from Vacuous Depths keyed me in that there's a live recording that's like released as a split with it's escaping me, maybe Demigod. But you know that Day of Darkness Fest where there was like Beharit and Impaled Nazarene bootlegs all over the place? So there's like another half of that where some of it's Amorphous and the other half is Demigod or something like that. Correct me in the comments, but that's something I might need to pick up, because this era of Amorphous is so original and interesting.
Dark.
Yeah, those guys were onto something. Another, and what was it? I don't know. I'll have to put it in the chat and find out what the other half of that bootleg was. But yeah, that's really the only Amorphous I listen to.
I like them a lot up through Tales of the Thousand Lakes. After that, I ended up liking where they went, but yeah, I don't ever really listen to it anymore. All right.
Belial, that was the other band.
Alan.
Yeah, someone just mentioned Belial. All right, let's see. We'll stick to vinyl for a minute. This is just a reissue. Picked it up not long ago. I had always meant to check this band out. Found this really cheap. So I was like, okay, I guess it's time. So Solstice and their Prey album. So mid-90s Florida death metal. Again, pretty new to this one. Still getting a feel for it. One thing I noticed, or two things I noticed. First off, riffs are really good and tight. There's definitely some groove to the riffs, but not to the point that it like takes over. They still feel like, really solid death metal riffs, that they just have a, kind of different character. And maybe that's just the fact that it's a couple of years after the main Florida death metal boom. Second thing I noticed is that the solos are really kind of cool and wild, but they're few and far between. I kind of wish they'd spent just a little more time, letting the guitar take front and center stage. Didn't have to do it all the time, but it feels like, there's a lot of space in between the leads, and they're obviously really good at playing leads. So I'm a little surprised they didn't lean into that more. But yeah, it seems like a pretty solid example of Florida death metal. Glad I finally got to check it out. It's the kind of thing that, I've seen it a few times here and there, but it's always like, usually find something else I'm more interested in, or it's priced a little too high. But this copy showed up. It was like under $20. It's like, sure, that is the day that I will check out Solstice's Prey. How's this one compared to I know there's one album before it.
From
Better,
Beyond?
worse? What do we thought folks think?
I've never really spent a lot of time with that band.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I finally picked up their debut a year or two ago. It's okay. They're kind of, to me, like Malevolent Creation. They fall into this realm where they're good. They just, I'm never inspired to listen to them. I just don't. And I've never even seen that record before. I didn't even like Daryl in the chat. I've only heard the debut. I didn't know there was even anything beyond that. So, hey, right on.
Okay. So, all right, not just me that's kind of new to this one. Interesting. Yeah, I don't, they're not reinventing the wheel or anything. And the big question is going to be, how much do I still want to play this 3 months from now or a year from now? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But it is solid. There's certainly nothing wrong about it. It's not like I said, the big thing is it's got a little bit of groove worked in the riffs, but it's not groove metal. It definitely still has, a riff-based death metal, core to it, which is a good thing. If anything, having that little bit of groove worked in makes it at least a little bit distinct from some of its peers. So I can dig that.
Right on. All right. Yep. Part of the Grand Rapids cassette score, I got a copy of Time Will Tell by Fifth Angel, which $4.99, and I was kind of glad I got this on tape. I listened to this today, and you know what? It's pretty good. It's not as good as the other one I have on vinyl, but if I saw this, I would have bought the vinyl of it. And listening to it today, it's a lot more hard rock / leaning a little bit into the hair vibe. It doesn't suck. There's a cover of Lights Out from by UFO on here, which was cool. They did a good job on it. So I guess their choice of cover kind of shows you where they're coming from, but there's this kind of a commercial sheen about this stuff. I don't know. It's I need to spin it. The other one I have, I don't remember it being as glammy. Not that this is super glammy, but it's good. It just, I wasn't super in the mood for it. Like I said, I'm glad I didn't spring for the vinyl on it, because I might not have been as happy. But for a $4, $5 cassette, fine, plays fine, sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll pick up a cassette and I'll be like, I've been thinking about checking out this band, and it'll be like $15, and I'm no. If it's priced at $5, I'm usually like, okay, yeah, this is the day I picked that up, right?
Yep. What do you say, Alan?
Oh, it's just the Fifth Angel debut is quite good, but you're right. They always have a little bit of a commercial sleekness to the music. But yeah, the debut one's quite good. The one they did a couple of years ago is not bad. I'm not familiar with the stuff in between though.
Yeah. All right. I just remembered something I left in the shop. I'm going to go grab that. And Alan, hey, Warhammer, thanks a bunch.
Oh, appreciate it, Lee. Thank you. So, and guys, don't forget to go check out Lee working with.
Go ahead, Alan. I won't turn it off when you turn it on.
All right. Here we go. We'll get it on the screen there. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Go, check out Lee's stream on Sunday afternoon over on the Shredbeard channel. Let's see. Wait, am I back or are you back, Ben?
I think it's me.
I think it is. Yeah.
Solstice.
Let's see. Already left us in the wrong mode here. Let's get this fixed. Back.
Marty. I didn't know I had a waiter. Can I get some jalapeno poppers, please? What should I do here?
Here we go.
Okay. I showed this in my last collection update, but I've been really, really hyped on this new discovery. It came out on Southern Lord in 2023, and it was on a lot of your lists. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but the band is Marthe. It's an Italian solo project, and it really blends like black metal, doom, and kind of like crust punk from like Amoebics kind of crust punk. And I'm still not all in on any crust punk at all, but I really am liking the element of that incorporated into other styles. And this just like reaches across so many different genres in such a fluent way. And like the tonality of everything on this is really, really immense and big. And there's a lot of times where it winds up sounding a whole lot like Bathory in a lot of ways. It's called Further in Evil, and it should be super easy to pick up on Southern Lord, which is a label I just gloss over most of the time from now on. But this has just been spinning quite a bit around here. She just sounds so pissed off. It's really, really cool to hear someone like women have a lot of things to be pissed off about right now. So it's really, really satisfying to hear them like kind of get one back, you know. There's a cover of it's using the Banshee song on here. So it kind of has its toe in some other genres in a lot of ways, but it winds up just being like really raw and gnarly sounding. But just like with really, really big Bathory riffs. I've been really liking this stuff. It's interesting when someone finds a neat way to kind of like connect old genres in a new way that feels kind of fresh. So yeah, Martha. She is in another band called Horror Vacui, which I might wind up having to check out. There's a couple moments on the album where she gets really D-beaten, and it's just rules. Like that is such a great satisfaction when you have some kind of slower plotting kind of thing, and you know something's coming. And then once you get that D-beat crust moment, you're just like, oh, fuck yeah! That's what I'm here for.
Right on. All right. I'll jump ahead of you here, Alan. We'll screw up the order. Ben Showen Amorphous reminded me that I not all of my promo CDs died in the flood, thankfully. There was some up in the shop, and there was another box that was sitting on top of the box that soaked up all the water. But this was up there. I listened to it while printing beer koozies this week. Sentence Story, a Recollection. This is basically a best of collection. Leaning, well, I can't say it's leaning heavily into their goth chick phase. But it's got, you know, the thing of it is that whole era, once they get past Amok and they go into down
Yep.
and forward, even though it does kind of take on a gothic type of rock accessibility, the songs are super catchy. There's like earworm after earworm, and I couldn't hate those records. But yeah, this has been kind of a fun work in a way. It goes from, you know, the Down era to the Love and Death EP and the Amok era, and there's even the Trooper cover, White Wedding cover. And then you get into North From Here stuff, which, man, you hear that up against the gothic stuff. There's no comparison. It really is.
Yeah,
it's really, that album was it's such a special moment in that band's lineage, and the fact, and then they even have some stuff from the debut, the death metal debut, which is good. It just isn't as good as where they went. But they didn't they didn't pump the brakes there. They went. I do love Amok. I love that record. I think it's a great record. But yeah, I can't say I hate this band in any iteration of their style, but it's that sweet spot. The North From Here Amok era is definitely the best. But this has been fun. Like I said, the songs they pick Noose, Sun Won't Shine, which is just such a cheesy freaking woe is me, sad boy, I'm gonna cut myself, lady, unless you love me type shit. You know, I don't know. It's this stupid goth shit. But yeah, it's fun. It was fun. I'm glad it didn't go in the dumpster with the rest of my stuff.
I accidentally picked it up a couple of years ago, and I was like, "What? Why don't I have this? Is this the best of?" I got rid of it last year.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Ellen.
Yeah. I don't hate those later sentence sounds simply because they're not good enough to bother hating. They're just boring. That phase is just not for me. Once they got to down, I'm just like, nope, they're down and I'm out.
Right.
And next up, so we've finished off the Red Bull. So let's finish it up with some Kraken rum and coke. Got a Kraken skull-shaped cup, and it's got like tentacles wrapped around it. So hell yeah, I'm drinking out of this.
With the purple straw. Nice touch.
We're out of the stupid little cocktail straw. So yes, I've got like the purple sippy straw cut in half. But hey, went to get some rum at the liquor store today. The guy's like, hey, there's a sweet gift set. I'm just like, that's stupid. I don't need that. He's like, it's got a free cup. I'm like, that's stupid. I don't need that. He's just like, it's a skull with tentacles. I'm like, shut up and take my money. All right, let's see. Up next, let's do some Death Doom. Came out last year, and it took me a few listens to start to get this record, but I'm really starting to enjoy it now. It is the debut from Slime Lord. Yeah, these are the guys from Cryptic Shift, who, that's more like, tech, thrash, death material. But they've been doing this Death Doom project on the side. They had a few, I guess, like demo EP type releases. Finally got their debut out. It's a $20 spin release, so most folks are going to be familiar with this. Crazy good artwork on the cover. Love the kind of messed up psychedelic horror. I'm guessing it's some kind of like alien fungus spore type theme going on. That's my guess. I want to stick to it. But yeah, what makes Slime Lord different is Death Doom can feel like a pretty limited genre. There are a few basic tropes on how you do it. Slime Lord is doing something a bit different. They are finding ways to incorporate some of that, oddity from Cryptic Shift into what's a pretty straightforward paint by numbers type of subgenre. Lots of weird chords in here, avoiding the just simple repetitive nature that a lot of Death Doom has. And I say that in a good way. I like a lot of Death Doom bands, but a lot of those bands, the songs can feel samey. They move at the same pace. They have the same basic structure. Slime Lord are trying out a lot of different ideas, and they're not really up in your face about it. It's not like, ooh, we're going to try to, techify, this caveman genre or something. You just get the sense that, yeah, they've got, they wanted to try it, but they're trying it their way. And as you listen to it, you start to notice more and more things like, that's cool. It's unusual, but it actually works quite well. And it does really make them stand apart from a lot of other bands that, play in this style. So yeah, I am enjoying the Slime Lord debut. It's got a crazy title. It's, what was it? Kai Triomycosis Relinquished. So yeah, you can put that on the Christmas list for grandma to go ask for at the local record store. Won't cause any problems whatsoever. Again, last year's release, I know $20 Spin has had a Black Friday sale going on. I'm guessing this is one of the things marked down by now. So if you never got around to picking it up, maybe this is the time to do so. But it is a very cool and kind of different take on Death Doom, and that gets a thumbs up for me. Or a skulls up. Over to you, Marty.
I'll have to give that a listen. That sounds up my alley.
It is unique enough that, yeah, you might dig it, Ben.
My turn? Or
yes, sir. The order screwed up. It's fine. Go for it.
I've been listening to this nonstop, and I still can't really figure out what it is to say. We're going to try and figure this out. How to sell you guys on this, and how to say what is special about Eusebian Dead Corner of the Eye. I bought a copy of this for Austin a couple years ago. I bought 3 copies of this for friends because it's pretty rare on CD or LP, and I just love it so much. I guess it kind of reminds me, like, if you hopped off of Morbid Angel at Domination because it was too like poppy or kind of like big label or something, I kind of feel like this might be something like if Morbid Angel were maybe from like Denmark or Netherlands or something. This kind of has that like Northern European sound, but not Scandinavian whatsoever. The album's called Dead Corner of the Eye, if I didn't say that already. It came out on Serpent Pulse. I don't really know much of anything about it, but it's just great, like 2003 kind of death metal. Kind of reminds me of Sinister sometimes, kind of gore festy in a way, but like definitely from the lineage of Morbid Angel. But that's kind of like most death metal, right? But the production on it is flawless. I guess what I really, really love about it is it's really groovy. It's like I feel like death metal appeals to a lot of guys because it just like has this machinated sort of rhythmic thing about it. And if you're not like a metalhead that like understands melody and harmony and just like, you can usually get along with like the syncopation of everything. If you're not a metalhead, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can play death metal for a lot of normies and they'll be like, okay, yeah, I got the grooves, get slams or something. And this kind of has a lot of that. It's got a lot of, it's a like kind of a big entry point. The drummer is super in the pocket and groovy. But just the way they write songs is so satisfying. And throughout the album, as it goes further and further into the album, the songs get better and better and better. And by the end of the album, I'm just flipping out over this thing. I play this a lot. So if you ever find a copy of this anywhere, pick it up because it's kind of hard to get. I think I have there's a yellow version of it, but I just have the black version. It's usually cheap when it pops up because nobody really knows about this band, but
cool cover. Is that a Seagrave?
It might be. It definitely looks a lot like it. But I don't remember that being the case.
Just inquiring minds want to know.
Visual Dan Seagrave, it sure is. That may be how I found it. But super solid album. Kind of has like some suffocation-ish kind of stuff, but nothing gimmicky, nothing slammy, just like perfectly executed post-2000 death metal.
All right.
Yeah, sounds
Get it.
All right. Another one in the promo stack that I listened to this week up in the shop as I was printing. This is one of those albums. Well, first of all, promos over the years changed as the digital era started to proliferate the way people shared music. The promos started to come not only in the cardboard sleeve, which is fine, but as you get about 4 songs in and you start hearing, "You are listening to Come Far, Him Gang, the new album Him Gang coming out on Napalm Records." And then as soon as they start doing it, it's like every 15 minutes they do it. And then towards the end, they do it with more frequency. So no one rips the promo and shares it on the streaming services. So
yeah,
it's annoying, but this is a Campfire with Him Gang, or however you say it. Not sure. Not Norwegian. This is a post. The band started out, put out a few albums and an EP that were really good. Then something happened, some legal stuff. They kind of went away for a while to fight for some legal thing. And by the time they came back, it kind of felt to me like the black metal scene kind of moved on past what they were doing. They're not really a straight up, they're very Norwegian sounding. They're very pagan sounding, meaning they've got that Norwegian folk influence interwoven throughout their riffs and their melody choices. But it just seemed like the drum work is really super simplistic. There's just a lot of, it just, I don't know how to explain the beat, but it's just a very folky kind of dancey type beat to some of these songs. But the way it works with their music and the grim vocals, it's still really cool. They're still a really good band. I've kind of fallen off. There's been a bunch of records that have come and gone. I have not checked out any of them. So this was in the box before it got destroyed, and I pulled out a big stack of CDs to go listen to. And I finally got to this one. It's good. I enjoyed it. Other than "You are listening to Come Fall," all that crap over and over and over and over and over again. But yeah, Norwegian pagan folk black metal from the mid '90s, but they are still alive today. And Dolk still isn't wearing a shirt live to show off his sweet tattoo. And, there you go. Good stuff.
Amazing band. Their earlier stuff is really, really, really quality.
Agreed. 100%. All right.
I picked up that one or another one around there a couple years ago. And Kvass, that's the one I picked up.
Yep. That one's pretty decent too.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I think their first full length on Merciless is my favorite. I have that one on vinyl, and man, it rules. It's a great record.
Yeah, I dug back into that one this year.
It's really kind of a shame that they had to go away for a little while. You know, I don't remember what the story was, but something happened. I don't know. Alan.
All right, let's see. This album I got really stuck on a couple of weeks ago. Played it a ton. I know it well, but I just hadn't played it in a while, and decided I was going to play it for a week solid. It is Queensryche's Rage for Order. A lot of people will, of course, pick Operation Mindcrime as their best album. I've always liked this one a little bit better. The production is the big difference. This one does feel so 1986. You can tell this came out the same year Turbo came out. There is no doubt whatsoever when you hear the production. And I don't mind the production, not even saying it's a problem for the record at all. It just, it has a very dated production, whereas Mindcrime has, a huge budget, very full, well-rounded production. Both albums are fantastic. There's always been something that I think start to finish, this album's just a wee bit better than Mindcrime start to finish. It's the band getting into, their kind of more arty phase, leaving their more sort of traditional US power metal roots behind them. Every song's a little bit different, all unique. It's got a very somber and sad atmosphere to a lot of the songs. Even the songs that are, a little catchier, that were obviously meant to be rolled out as singles, there's still a real just gray atmosphere to tracks like London, the cover of Gonna Get Close to You. The whole album, Tate sounds fantastic, but every song is, about some type of loss, something they're missing, something they're yearning for. Which, again, I think actually adds a lot of depth to the album. It doesn't come across as, just a collection of singles or something like Empire would a few years later. Hey, there we go. Absolutely.
Forgot I had those.
So, yeah, even though, this album obviously kind of walks in the shadows of Operation Mindcrime, I think it's still the better album for me. Somebody in the chat sees what I just did, and I expect a few lulls or the
Walk in the shadows.
There we go. Marty nailing the falsetto. But yeah, I get it. It's one of those things where I just took it off the shelf, played it, and it stayed in the CD player for a good 7 to 10 days. Just got played over and over. I've had the album for, 30 years, and it can still dominate my playlist for a week solid. That's how good Rage for Order is. So,
have you ever heard, wasn't there like a pre-Queensryche band that had a demo that like never got released or something like that?
I have heard that, yeah, because they did have a different name. They didn't change their name to Queensryche until like right before they released the first EP and video. I can't remember what the original name was right now, though. Somebody in the chat will know. But I have not heard the material.
Pretty good. I think I've just the last year or so.
Cool.
Mob and Myth. I don't know if Jay is trying to. I don't know. But a week ago, I too had my little stint with Queensryche, and it was these two: Rage for Order and Empire. And I listened to these albums, and Empire, it's got some great freaking songs on it. The whole album isn't great, but one thing that remains great on the whole thing is Jeff Tate. Say what you want, he's a weird guy, but god damn it, his voice is angelic. It just is. Yeah. He's an amazing talent.
I've always thought he was a better singer than Bruce Dickinson. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can listen to more Queensryche than Maiden. Like I kind of get tired of Maiden after a couple albums or so. My turn.
Yes, sir.
Jeez, get a lot going with them. Show a lot of picks. This is going to be a very value-added episode for everybody out there.
Absolutely.
New release just came out about a week ago. This band is from Philly. I caught a little bit of a live footage of them on TikTok, and I was buying the CD within a minute. They're called Bastard Cross. Now, I know this looks like the most typical Hell's Headbangers shit that you're going to throw in your collection and forget about. And maybe I will. Maybe I will. But today I love it. I fucking love this. It's got a little bit of kind of like Niflheim sort of style about it. But it's really charming me by how much more melodic it is The production on it is really, really good. And usually something like this, I feel like they're kind of like a young band, and they're kind of finding their footing. But this is a very confident, maybe debut. I'm not sure if this is their first one. I think they have a couple of demos and splits and stuff, but I think a lot of people have been freaking out about this. It's kind of like punky speed battle kind of stuff. But it's really fun. Drumming is really, really, really solid. And they never get boring. A band like this can usually put together like 2 or 3 songs that are like, fuck yeah, I like this. I'll give you $10 for that. And then, by track 8, you're like, what am I going to play next? Mm-hmm. This one I've been spinning a lot this week, and it's called Cross Ripper. I mean,
and there is getting into the act of ripping a cross right there.
Why try and reinvent the wheel? They're just doing it fun.
What is your vision for the artwork for the Cross Ripper album? Well, you got to have a demon on there ripping a cross, man.
Right.
Picture this.
And he lives in a cave shaped like a skull, and there's a river of blood
shaped like Alan's glass.
This one's for Rick. I was hoping he either knew these guys. They're from Philly.
Yep. Rick just shouted them out. He agrees 100%. There you go.
Pick it. I think it's on Bandcamp for like $10 for shipping included or something.
Yeah, I've seen that name because it obviously kind of stands out. But yeah, like you said, it looks like the kind of thing you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's kind of cool, and then 10 minutes later you'd forget about it. But that's cool that it stuck with you.
Their follow-up is called Jesus Puncher.
Get this for the album cover for that one. I've got this concept in my head. I just can't let it go. There's Jesus on the cover. He's getting punched.
All right, guys, we've ripped the cross. Now we got to take it to the next level. Picture this.
Based on what was Marty? You put one of the first binder releases. It was the Australian Misery's Omen.
Misery's Omen.
One of the members in that band was called
Pope Choker.
Pope Choker. And I started a project with another guy called Pope Choker because I thought that was the best fucking band name ever. We didn't do anything with it, and I just thought, oh, is that a great name?
Yep. All right, Alan. Or you just went? I don't know. The order.
We'll get back to the original order.
We'll get rid of it. It doesn't matter.
Work. All right. Something I've been revisiting a little bit lately is 21st Century Pentagram, the U.S. band, not the Chilean one. Everybody always, raves about Pentagram, but it's always the 80s material into maybe the earliest 90s. They've released, several albums through the 2000s. They don't get talked about much, and I haven't played them for a while. Sorry, reading the comment here on the side.
Yeah.
Mendoza.
Yep.
Something just fell off my hat, and I don't even know what. So yeah, hadn't played any of the newer quote unquote Pentagram albums in quite a while, so I figured I'd start poking back through them. Beginning with this one, which is actually a 99 release. Review your choices. This is when it was just Joe Hasselvander and Bobby essentially working on stuff. And this is kind of the album that started to get them back on the map. They got a really good write-up in Metal Maniacs. Jeff Wagner did a big interview with Bobby. Pretty soon after that, Relapse put out the First Days Here anthology of some of their older 70s material. So this was kind of the period where Pentagram got on a lot of people's radar for the first time. I was already familiar with the band, but this did still turn out to be a really solid album. It's a very, very heavy production to it. Again, it's mostly just Bobby and Joe trying to figure out how heavy and effed up can we make this sound, and the answer is pretty much so. Bobby sounds, really depraved on it. Big surprise there. As usual with these Pentagram albums, it's a combination of older and newer songs. Yeah, and that's one thing that kind of has struck me as always a bit amusing when people discover Pentagram's like, oh yeah, this album that came out a year ago is great, and there's this one song on it from back in the 70s. I'm like, no, there's about 6 songs on it from back in the 70s.
Whoa.
A lot of folks don't realize how much of the newer albums are filled in with remakes of tracks that Bobby, had written, 40, 50 years ago. And this one is no exception. It's got a few of those too. But also, this one has some newer compositions that are actually extremely good too. And that's something you can't say of all the newer Pentagram albums. A lot of times the newer tracks are like, well, there's some riffs there, there's words, but yeah, they can be pretty hit or miss. But tracks on this one, like Gorgon Slave, are really good and actually genuinely heavy and well put together. So yeah, it was a good way to kind of reintroduce themselves to the world, started building up, kind of a new fan base. So yeah, review choices worked out pretty well and has held up pretty well too. I've always felt that it was probably a couple of songs too long. And again, sometimes those 70s reworked tracks don't come together well either. Some of them were just, a little too simple to survive being updated to a 21st century sound. But take a couple of songs off of it, you've got a really pretty solid album, which isn't something you can say about many of the albums that came after that one. Yeah, Pentagram definitely lives on its legacy from the old material much more so than the new material. That would be my take on them.
So keep food on the table.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep, musicians got to eat, and Pentagram at this point, it is a brand. It's got a built-in fan base. People are going to buy it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the band too. I'm not crapping on them. I love a lot of their stuff, but if I'm being honest, the albums they've put out over the past couple of decades they range from a little above average to pretty below average. If we're just all bullshit aside, they haven't made a fantastic album since 1993. Review Your Choices is probably the closest they've come. So yeah, the new Pentagram, not spoiler alert, not going to be on the best of the year list in a few weeks.
All right,
Aaron, and if you don't, there are other ways.
As I was doing my little construction project, building new shelves, I'm into industrial music. I dig it, and this band, I don't love all their stuff, but I like a good chunk of it. This is KMFDM. This is Naive and Hell to Go. Oh, yeah. Naive is full length, and there's a Hell to Go EP on here. And then the other one I was spinning was Nihil as well, which both good albums. And basically, this is industrial music with a little bit of metal sampled in, like the song Godlike. They had a single for that one. It's a Slayer riff that they basically sampled and looped, and makes the songs a little bit more aggressive, a little more headbangable, I guess. But yeah, this is a German band. Saw them once during the Angst era. Always liked them. There are albums like Hyena, which is has a little bit of a hip hoppy vibe to it, which not a big fan of that album. But other than that, just the straight up industrial stuff with metallized treatments. It's heavy. It's interesting. It's electronic. It's aggression in a different way, and I've always appreciated that for a break. And the CD isn't in here. It's in the CD player. Yeah, check out KMFDM. This one in particular, Naive for sure, is definitely good. Yeah,
I dated a girl in college whose roommate was huge into KMFDM, so I've never owned any of their stuff, but I kind of got used to, for about a year or so there, hearing it in the background quite a bit when she was playing it, which it's not the kind of thing I'm going to buy, but I don't mind it being on in the background either.
Yeah, I've always liked them when they're on, but sometimes I'll throw them on and just, it's all right.
It was a construction project. It's not like I was sitting there, focused on. I mean, it was background, right. But occasionally I'd be doing some of this, and maybe with my hammer, and hey,
There's a lot to be said for a band that you like casually kind of like, and then you're out thrifting or looking for records, and then something's in your price range, and you're just like, yeah, and then the day comes around where you're like, I'm gonna throw this on, and it clicks. I'm such a cheapo that when I find something that's like a really good deal, or find something in a store where something doesn't belong, and I do pick it up and take it home, and I'm like, you're coming on with me, we're gonna have a moment.
Yeah.
It usually clicks pretty well for me.
And they're one of the bigger more popular industrial bands from back in the day. Oh, yeah. So you can go into just about any store that has a decent indie section and find used CDs. There's a bunch of them, and they're cheap. So yeah, Ben, you're back.
Kind of going off that story. One time I picked up a Candlemass live tape at least I thought I did, in some random ass thrift store, and I was like, "This is gonna be awesome." I got on the car, and the tape was wrong. It was actually Crimson Glory's self-titled.
Oh,
and I'd never heard that band.
Great
That was
too.
the first time I'd ever heard that band, so I was
Yeah.
kind of bummed that I didn't get the Candlemass tape. But fuck Candlemass, I was in love. Still am to this day.
Yeah, that's a great album. That's a goofy mix-up too.
It is, yeah. I probably came from the same home, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I've gone to a couple of concerts in the last couple of weeks. I think it was last Saturday night. I went and saw the Abysmal Dawn, Christian, Pyrexia, and Gorgatron tour. Now, Christian is the reason I went. I've seen Christian live now 5 times, and before last week, they were my favorite live band I've ever seen. Just, it makes me feel like a basic bitch just saying it, but like this record alone, and Black Forest Domain is great too, but this pummels. This is some of the most infernal death metal you'll ever fucking hear. But you know, they've been going on for like 30 years now, and I was wondering if they would really still be able to bring a great live show. And granted, I had 4 White Claws in me at that point, but I lost my shit. I was going nuts. I banged my head so hard that I hit the stage monitor in the corner of my head. I've never done that before. They ripped so absolutely hard. They dumped all the goat dongs all over the place. And it ruled so hard. And like, I guess it was fun to go back and listen to this album again and just like really pick apart how kind of different they are. I know a lot of South American stuff quite sounds the same. Brazilian stuff kind of sounds the same, but like this doesn't sound anything like Sepultura at all. And watching the drummer, just like with a fresh set of eyes, I guess I would say most of the time I saw him in the past, I was really, really drunk. I was probably two-fisting PBRs all night long and hungover and can't remember much of it. But this time I was able to like stand really close to them. This venue that they played was just down the street from here, and there were probably like maybe 60 people there. Not a great turnout, but you know, they were on tour from Denver to Chicago, so coming through Iowa. But the performance was great. It was so cool to see them just like mere feet away. And I was just screaming my head off the whole time. The way the drummer plays is so weird. It's like he came up with a bad idea 35 years ago or whenever it was, and is just still doing it the same way. There's like the guitar player and the drummer are brothers, so they are just like locked in. They have just like a particular way about playing the way that they do, and Max just kind of joins them on bass and vocals. They're kind of unique, but this record right here just absolutely slays. If you've looked them over and thinking they're just like a big Century Media band or something, there's no denying this record right here is gonna just pummel you into the fucking bells of hell. Anybody?
Yeah, like you said, I've always kind of avoided them because I thought they were just a big Century Media band that I probably wouldn't get into.
Right, and I feel like such a basic bitch saying they're like my favorite live band, but goddamn, it's 5 times now. They have not let me down whatsoever.
I've told the story on here before. I like them musically, even though they're a little bit war metalish, which I get a little tired of really quickly. But seeing them live, I've seen them 4 or 5 times, and every time it sounds like I'm sticking my head inside a jet engine. It's like there's like 3 guys on stage, and I'm looking around at everybody, and everybody's like rocking out, and I'm like, I can't just any discernible riffs. It's just with it was always a bad mix, a bad PA, whatever. I'm like, this is one of those bands I think I'm just going to enjoy in the privacy of home, where I can hear everything going on and not just full frontal assault, which people seem to enjoy it. It must have been just me, but yeah.
Well, I talked to Simon, and he said they sounded like ass one time when he went to see them, and like I think I've heard other people say that too. Like they just got to be mixed right or something.
Yeah.
And also like I'm always standing right by the guitar player, just like watching him play, and it kind of helps me discern what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
There's just nothing else like them.
Last time I saw him was Harpo's in Detroit, and I don't think they knew how to mix them because it sounded like head and a jet engine. It was rough.
I've been going to a lot more shows the last maybe like 5 or 6 years because it seems like the technology is getting better.
Yeah,
people are able to mix better, and there actually are people who know how to do sound that know what metal is, and that's been like more successful tours and stuff. Like saw Death to All a couple years ago, and we'll talk about them a little bit later too. Like that sound was impeccable.
Yeah, cool. All right there, sippy purple straw guy.
All right, we had to lose the hat, but we're good. All right, we'll follow up off Marty's KMFDM pick, kind of, sort of, and it kind of ties into like the same folks I was talking about. I hadn't heard this album in over 25 years, and just kind of randomly came across it a month or two ago. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a chance. I don't think I ever owned it. I'm pretty sure the girl I dated owned it, the one who had a roommate into KMFDM. So I've heard it through her. She had it on cassette. And it was one of those things that was kind of cool. But then, after, we parted ways, I never had picked it up or really thought about it much. But people talk about it. I've heard Marty talk about it quite a bit. But yeah, so this is the first time I've heard it in 25 years, and it's really kicked my ass this week. It's been really fun checking it out for the past week or two. It is Street Cleaner by Godflesh. Not the kind of thing I typically listen to, but like I said, it just caught my eyes. It's like, it's been an age since I heard that, and it wasn't bad. So sure, let's give it a try. And damn, it's just very, very heavy. Of course, I don't need to describe it. Folks know this album better than I do, but it was really interesting to go back and hear something. It's been a freaking quarter of a century since I listened to this album, which is really weird to think about. It's probably technically been closer to 30 years at this point. From the time, probably closer to 30 years. And while it was good back then, I never felt the need to follow up on it. But I'm glad I did. Yeah, just really crushingly heavy stuff I've been in the mood for. Like I said, it's been kind of a crazy week. I've been trying to do 5 things at once. So just, having this on in the background turned up a little bit extra loud to, keep, pounding away while I've been pounding away at the to-do list has worked absolutely perfectly. So it's been very fun reconnecting with it. But it is a strange sensation to realize that you haven't listened to something for a quarter of a century. But there we go.
Sometimes, because I remember when I got that album, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I like it more now than I did when it came out.
Mm-hmm. I can see that being the case for folks. I didn't, like I said, I didn't dislike it at the time.
I didn't either.
She played it, it was more her style than mine. We'll put it that way. She liked a little bit more of the industrial stuff like Fear Factory, Godflesh. That stuff I was okay on, but I never latched onto it. So I understand why I never picked up anything myself. But again, I don't remember even, maybe it was like late October, Halloweenish when I picked it up. Not sure. But it worked. It absolutely has worked. It's clicked. And it's gotten me interested in maybe I should go back and check out a few of these other sort of more industrial leaning metal things that I haven't heard in ages. Because I seem to like that particular weight and heaviness to things at the moment. So yeah.
Check out Pitch Shifters Submit. Pitch Shifters Submit or Industrial. Both of those are crushed.
Yeah. Those are exactly the kind of things that were in her wheelhouse that, again, it was part of the background music while we dated. But that background is 30 years back now. So I'll keep an eye out. I'm not going to go special ordering any of this stuff, but if you show up, used for a few bucks, I'm not above picking up some more of it. So I'll keep an eye out for that pitch shifter you mentioned, Marty, and see what else I can get into.
Right on. All right. Well, on the completely other side of the musical spectrum here, I got this again, that corner record shop. I had a huge pile of used stuff I walked out of there with, but Kiss Unplugged. Kiss fan week lately hasn't been going by where I haven't been listening to Kiss. Been trying to get back to a sense of youthful times, I guess. And this band always does it for me. And I used to have this. I got rid of it, got it again. It sounds really good. They produced it really well. The performances are really good. It's funny. I used to have, I might still have it. I used to do video trading back in the day. It was tape trading. And I also did video trading with, one of my main guys I traded with was Pat from Hellwitch. He had an amazingly humongous list.
Yeah, that guy was famous for video trading.
I couldn't believe he wanted to trade with me. I had just this shitty little list, and he would always trade, always. But I got the 4-hour taping of this, which is interesting because there's a lot of stuff they cut out of this. And Gene forgetting words and screwing up, them stopping the song and laughing at each other and starting again. So it's really interesting after getting used to seeing the 4-hour long. Never gonna happen. I'm still buying Kiss things just because it's happier times. But
as long as the ghost of Gene Simmons haunts this earth, there will always be another Kiss product to buy.
this is true. Thank goodness for that. But yeah, just hearing the way they trimmed it all down into one cohesive album, pretty interesting. So I probably would have liked this a little bit less if I hadn't heard and become familiar with the 4-hour taping of it. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. This was the Ace and Peter joined. That was the big reveal for this thing and got them on a farewell tour that never ended for a decade. But yep, that's my only Kiss in this pile. And it's not because I didn't listen to other Kiss this week, because I did. But yeah, Ben, no Kiss in your
Kiss and
stack.
tell, Marty.
Yep.
Marty's not in the house if we didn't talk about Kiss or Amorphous.
Yep. Or Halloween, which is coming later too.
So
just enjoy it.
No one's gonna follow through with my recommendation here, but The Ringmaster is a great documentary I discovered a couple of years ago about this guy from southern Minnesota who has a really desirable recipe for the perfect onion ring. And this guy gets out of rehab and he wants to make a buck or something. And he says, move out to LA with me and we're going to get Kiss involved. And we're going to start selling your onion rings at the Hard Rock Cafe or whatever. And Kiss is going to be endorsing your onion rings. And a great movie ensues. Anyways, The Ringmaster. Okay. I
could not have made that up if I tried. That's awesome. I probably won't watch it, I'll be honest, but just knowing it exists makes me a little bit happier.
Probably the most compelling element of the movie is how much of a fucking loser the filmmaker is. He's trying to make the movie about the onion rings. Anyways, this is probably the thing I've been listening to the most for the last year and a half or so. And another album that's gotten me back into my love of black metal. And I'm sure you've seen me talk about this or heard this on some of my videos, but this will be the last time, maybe. So I discovered this album on YouTube a couple years ago. Couldn't find a copy of it, not even a good download of it. I just listened to it on YouTube for all this time. I finally tracked down a original copy of it, and I kind of can't believe it. I wound up shelling out $60 for this. This is Aatrox with Enfest and Desecrate, limited to 20 copies on CDR.
So that's a bootleg then, is what you're saying?
No.
Yeah, it is. It's a bootleg.
No, it was a CDR or whatever it came out, and it's hand numbered.
Yeah.
7 out of 20 or something like that.
Wow.
I don't know. But it was a CDR when it was originally released. Anyways, raw black metal from France, 2003. So nasty. Not nasty that it's indiscernible, not even nasty in an atmospheric way. It's just, I can't believe that other black metal doesn't have this amount of aggressive tonality to it. Everything about it sound quality wise is so perfect. The guitar tone is amazing. The drums are like really, really buried way down in there. But everything is very, very discernible. Nothing is too just like distorted or over distorted in any ways, but it's kind of dark throny, but it also is very French in a lot of ways. But Marty, you're gonna have a renaissance with black metal someday, and I think this might do.
I do have it. I haven't lately, but there was like 2 months ago. That's all I was listening to was black metal. It's like it swings around often.
This is more necro than the most necro thing you've ever seen. But good luck finding a copy. I hope this is real. I don't regret it, but because it sounds great. As far as I can tell, yeah, everything about it looks legit. From like I was putting CDRs out in 2003 too, and it looks exactly like it ought to. Not very many scratches on it, so
nice. Very, very happy to secure a copy of this, and that I wasn't waiting years and years to finally get one. Right on.
I recorded vocals tonight, and my throat is fucked.
All right, Alan.
Give this a listen. Infest and Desecrate.
Well, my skull is empty. That's okay.
Mine too, sadly.
But that's okay.
Couple rocks in there. It's all right.
It's okay. I got this covered because for those who missed it earlier, see this shit. You got backup right here built in. Check that out. Never go thirsty. Actually, kind of keeps you cool too if it's a chilled water bottle. So yeah, I'm finding all kinds of
counteracts the effects of that sweet ass sweater.
Best sweater ever. And whatever fun we have with this sweater can be, offset by the amount of shame on my wife's face watching me carry this through the store and paying for it at the cash register. And of course, the lady takes like 5 minutes to get it untangled from the hanger and everything. So like the whole store sees what's being purchased, and she's just standing there looking like she wants the phone number for the witness relocation program.
Yep.
All right, let's pick an album here. This one, another one, very heavy album, very cool album. Another one I haven't played in quite a long time, but I always liked the project. Not metal per se, heavy, but not quite metal. It's the debut Jex Thoth album. This project, leans a lot into that, 70s psychedelic stoner hippie kind of proto-doomy, but none of it, it kind of dances all the way around metal, but without ever really becoming metal. But this album, it has just a great production to it. It's just, endlessly bottom heavy, just, this big honking reverberating sound. So again, the kind of album that's great to really crank up loud. You get a great bass tone from it. And Jex, has that kind of, classic Grace Slick voice, the kind of ethereal, slightly kind of dark and spooky female voice. Jex does that, absolutely perfectly. You get like halfway through the first song and you're just hooked on her performance alone. The songs are not overly complicated or anything. They're pretty simple compositions, but they work extremely well. I've always liked this among all of this, retro 70s stuff that has popped up over the past couple of decades. I always thought Jex Thoth, kind of stood out in that crowd just because of the sheer volume factor. A lot of the bands, they don't really go that heavy in tone. And especially the Jex Thoth debut does. The second album's good too, but there's a lot of lineup changes. The production's different. So it doesn't have, just this, super low bottom end to it that this album does. I always kind of thought, just the graphic layouts were kind of cool for it as well. Very simple, but cool color scheme to it with the red and white. They've never put out a ton of stuff. There's a single here and a split there. The 2 albums, I think there's 1 EP. One of those projects I wish they'd been a little more prolific, but if they had, it might have, worn thin also. So it's kind of cool that you do have, a small, but, very high quality catalog. If folks like any of those adjectives I was throwing around there, definitely a cool band to check out. Again, most folks are going to say it doesn't quite qualify as metal, and that's fair, but it's the kind of, very heavy music that I think a lot of metalheads will enjoy. So yeah, Jex Thoth, if I remember right, there from Wisconsin. So another Midwest project. We've been showing off a few of those tonight.
Yeah. I remember liking that band. I think they broke up for quite a while and maybe got back together and did another one or something.
They got might have been out now called
there's been long hiatuses, if not flat out breakups.
Christian Mistress, is that this? Am I wrong?
I was trying to think of that. Those 2 bands kind of like hand in hand for me.
Yeah, it's not Christian Mistress, but you're right. A couple of the members are in something.
The review dropped on Metallurgy this year. I can't remember. It was a collaborative. Like Rick and somebody else did it, I think. I don't remember.
I might have even been involved in it. I should know what it is, and I can't. Somebody in the chat can help us out with that.
Ossuary or something?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Miss A.
That's it. Oh. That's it, Ben. Yeah, it's the Ossuary project. Because it was interesting that because it also has that heavy bottom into it, but it's much grimier, filthier sound than what Jex Thoth did. Yeah, good call. The Ossuary album is really cool. And yes, Misanthropy, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Always fun to have you in the chat.
Marty, are you then also confusing Mesa in there?
No, Mesa. I listened to that part of that when I edited the review, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that actually. A lot of post rock or post punk mixed in, like some Susie type stuff, and that was really good.
I saw
I
them
didn't-
live last year. They were awesome.
Really?
Wait,
I was
oh,
gonna.
nice.
I thought about tracking down the album. I'm like, I don't know how much I'm gonna listen to this post buying it,
Mhm.
so I didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, it's their fourth album. They've been pretty.
Yep.
The albums have been consistently good. They're
Oop.
all a little different, but
Really good.
yeah, it's been a good project.
All right. Well, this is another moving records this week, and I grabbed this one. I'm like, God, I haven't listened to this in a long time. So threw on Brave New World, Iron Maiden,
Okay,
double
cool.
picture disc LP. Got this from Stephen O'Malley. He sent it to me for some reason, but appreciate it. This is the only time I ever saw Maiden was on this tour, and they were great, absolutely great. And this album is really good. It gets a bit long towards the end, but you know what? The songs are all still pretty good. And I'm not a huge Kevin Shirley production guy, but this one has a good mix. It's got a live feel to it, obviously, because they did play it live, but it's not as wonky as the albums that came after it sound. So I don't know. This still has a slightly produced but slightly live mix. And Bruce sounds good. The songs are good. Yeah. Blood Brothers, Dream of Mirrors, Fallen Angel's a good song, Out of the Silent Planet. And they end on the kind of sad thin line between love and hate. Good.
Mhm.
Good mix, good album. Yeah. I'm still on board with Maiden at this point. So
Yeah,
There you
it's not their best, but it got them back on the map. It showed,
Yep.
hey, we can make this work with three guitarists, and everything's good with Bruce back on board. So it was successful. It did all the things it needed to do. It made Maiden. It made people want to listen to Maiden again, instead of kind of looking down and saying, "Oh, bless their heart, they're trying."
Yeah.
It was like an
Pretending
acknowledgement that they had a lot of bad missteps.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
And they really need that was a really crucial turning point in their career.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Oh, and wanted to say hi to Schrodinger's cat, longtime viewer who's catching us live for the first time. Thanks for hopping in and saying hi in the chat.
All right, on. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thanks for hopping along. Gotta do what the boss says. Aaron, Metal Theologian, was expecting me to put this on, and I thought, yeah, it made a point. Universe.
There it is.
Oh. I saw a friend of mine had this patch on his jacket, and I was just like, maybe I'll check it out sometime. Saw this in a used bin. This is a bootleg. It's pretty hard to find.
Mhm.
But like Swedish heavy metal, kind of hard rock, heavy metal, kind of, I don't know. It's a little bit of both. Are either of you familiar?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Yeah, I got it in a tape trade 25 years ago from I'm blanking on the name right now, but yeah, exactly what you described.
This is from 85, and to me it kind of sounds like if Europe were actually metal. Maybe not a lot of synth, but like very, very catchy, just all frosting kind of choruses. Every single song is super, super catchy and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Super melodic, just excellent songwriting. I just can't believe this kind of happened in a vacuum. Like, I don't think these guys ever went on to do anything else or be in other bands. Singer just kind of dissolved away, but it's classic. Highly recommended. And I only really dabble in the heavy metal or the NWO BHM here and there when it's really good. And this just floored me. I've been listening to this a whole lot. Kind of reminds me maybe of Boston is kind of a touchy band. I love the Boston debut. I think it's a perfect album.
It's a perfect rock album.
So catchy.
Can't argue.
So every song.
Riff wise, it's catchy. Vocal wise, it's catchy. Just everything about it is so appealing. And like that thoroughness of appealing elements is similar to on this Universe album. Yeah, good pick, Aaron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that album's gotten a little bit of a cult following over the years for sure.
All right, Alan.
All right, I want to show one of them getting out of this sweater, because without the water bottle in the kangaroo pouch, it's definitely getting a lot sweatier down there. Let's see.
Making your own gravy.
I've had enough gravy for the past couple of days. I don't need to make any more. But let's see. This just got reissued along with the rest of the band's back catalog, which is really nice because they've been out of print and getting a little stupidly expensive for a newer band. It is Finland's Havakruunu. They've moved on to Svart Records, and Svart has reissued all 3 of their first albums. So they, of course, had a great album come out this year, album number 4. This is the debut, which is the only one I had never heard. It's called Havulinjan, and it's surprisingly good right out of the box. I was kind of expecting them to be very, very rough, at first, and kind of, then gradually having progressed from album to album. But the concept's already kind of fully formed here. Yes, it's not as polished as, say the last 2 albums have been, but the songs on here are really good, really catchy. They've already kind of got their, faster, slightly more aggressive, pagan charged black metal style is already coming together just fine, even here on the debut album. So that was, pleasant surprise. I went ahead and picked it up, to check it out. But yeah, really, the second album is the one people really rave about, and it is quite good. I jumped in on the band somewhere between albums 2 and 3, so I've been more familiar with the third one than the second. But yeah, you really can't go wrong with this band. Now that I've heard the debut, can confirm that all 4 albums have been really good, and this is one of those younger bands that if they can stay on this trajectory, it feels like they should be one of the bigger. I don't want to say bigger names. They're not going to go out and tour stadiums or anything. I mean, we're talking about Finnish pagan black metal here. We're not talking, opening for Taylor Swift. But it seems like, they should become, one of those bands that, has a very wide appeal within the heavy metal underground, that it should be one of those touchstone names
Really
that
good.
A lot of people are familiar with. And it's like everyone can kind of reference what Havakruunu have done if they stay on track. I will say there's also a chance they are one of those bands that have enough diverse influences in the music. I can see them going off track at some point and doing something very different. I think they've got that capability. They've got the musicianship that if they wanted to do something that was, purely more of like a folk acoustic style pagan record, they could probably pull that off. Be interesting to see if they do that at some point or not. I don't know. But yeah, definitely one of the stronger up and coming bands. I mean, with 4 albums, they've been around for a while at this point. But yeah, I think they really are hitting their stride now that they're on a label with better distribution, more visibility. The metal world is their oyster. Absolutely, they can go at it, and I hope they do really well. I really am impressed with the band, and I feel like they've gone from strength to strength. So, if you missed out on any of their old albums, now is a great time to pick up the Havakruunu discography. They're readily available everywhere. They're not $22 or $25 per CD like some of the reissues we've been seeing this past year or two. These are normal, $15 CDs, so they're not gouging you on the price, which is also nice.
Svart sometimes has some really great sales. It's been a couple years since I ordered from them, and I'm sure shipping prices and the exchange rate isn't too favorable right now. But I used to order from them about once a year when they had a big sale. It would be like 30% off or so, and then
nice,
too bad.
Yeah, 30% is when you start loading up on all kinds of stuff for sure. Yeah. 10% it's like, don't waste my time. 15% it's like, you do the math, but it's not quite worth it. 20% it's like, okay, let's put some things in the cart. At 30%, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, anything that looks interesting.
Yeah, or they would put stuff in the discount side and then put even more on sale.
Mm-hmm. So what percentage was that sweater? I'm curious. Was that the 30% take my money, I need this sweater, or was it
Marty? You can't put a price on something. I mean,
the only thing that's missing is LED lights. That would have been really cool. If it had like the eyes light up, that'd be sick.
Some of these things are 3-dimensional, like these little balls that they're playing with. I mean, they're actually like little fuzzy balls that stick off, and like the beard and everything is textured. So I mean, there's layers to this sweater. Literally,
Alan and his fuzzy balls. Here we go.
3D.
Look, 3D.
Absolutely. Hey, order the special glasses from the Metallurgy website, and yeah, they'll come right at you through the screen, which you may or may not want to have happen.
Oh,
all right,
boy.
somebody else show a record while I get out of this thing before I melt away into a puddle of milk and cookies.
Yummy.
All right. Well, this is one I got. This has got Alan's nemesis on it. Artistic boobs. Look at the price I paid for this back in the day when nobody wanted vinyl anymore. $1.99, New Moon Records.
Alan against artistic boobs? Is that what you're saying?
No, he's not against them, but whenever he shows them on YouTube, they dox his video for boobs. So we're showing them because this is a classic and those boobs should be seen. Damn it. But yeah, Emperor's Return by Celtic Frost. Again, it's been fun moving my records around. My God, I haven't listened to this in 1,000 years. So throw it on and Circle of the Tyrants, Morbid Tales, Dethroned Emperor, Visual Aggression, Suicidal Winds. This album is heavy as balls. It just so heavy on the turntable. I just love that analog for analog sound. And, nothing super new or exciting on here, but it's just a good EP. And I went through a little session with some EPs here. So there's another one coming that's a lot of fun too. But yep, you can't deny them. This is before they started getting a little weird and kind of fall off the rails. But this is still just pure, heavy as hell proto death metal, perhaps, but still in the thrash realm for me. Emperor's Return, Celtic Frost. Love it.
Great cover. Was that cover painted for that album, or is that something from a? Okay,
it's the guy that did all the noise stuff. What the hell is his name? Laveri. He did like the Death Row covers and Creator, all the Creator stuff early on. Yep, he was like the guy they go to for noise records would always employ him for all these.
That's great.
Early records.
Vallejo or something.
Yeah, that one does in particular look like it could have been painted for like some kind of fantasy novel series or something. Yeah, no, good stuff. I actually have just loaded all the Celtic Frost stuff onto my iPod, so I've got I'll be doing Celtic Frosting on my commute to work next week.
Nice. All right, Ben.
Well, I got the long sleeve in this week for Decrepit's Acrimonium. So anybody familiar with this one? This cover art is one of the most colorful death metal covers that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And it's like the same color scheme as that Solstice record I showed earlier.
Yeah. So they were kind of like along the lines of like immolation or an imprecation. Immolation is more of like a weirdo kind of dissonance kind of thing. But they really had that like pummeling, satanic, infernal kind of sound, but like really American. But they're from Cleveland, so a lot more like Midwestern. But one of my favorites. But along this album, it's like a short album. Plus, it has a Blood Feast cover, Face Fate on it. So it's kind of an EP. I think they just kind of like fell apart. One of the guys died soon after this came out, and they didn't really like finish it the way it was supposed to be. But it's a great release, and they were starting to experiment right along this time with being a black metal band, or like kind of towing both genres, as you can see there. But the production is excellent. It's really, really catchy. I really, really like the way the drummer doesn't really work too far outside of his box. Just kind of like knows his boundaries, knows his skills, and doesn't do anything too out of the way or too like, I don't know, something that doesn't belong in here. But a lot of groove, a lot of just great heavy moments throughout it. It's just nothing too super original, just like perfect kind of stuff. But I think a lot of people have gotten more into the imprecation in the last couple of years. Nuclear War Now has done a lot to kind of bring it back up again. Or Infester is kind of another similarity. But if you like that American sound, but more like Midwestern kind of stuff, can't miss this one. Although this is kind of hard to find. You probably have to pay about $100 for this thing. I lucked out a couple of years ago. got a copy of it. But this is from Shirts in the Abyss, probably a bootleg. I'm not sure, but damn, this thing's comfy.
Right on.
Also got to pick up the Wake from Decrepit somewhere around here.
Okay, Alan.
All right. His room is so much more comfortable than I realized. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to some vinyl. This is also something Marty sent me a couple of years ago. It is the third or fourth Wayfarer album, Romance with Violence. So this was a band I had checked out a few times and never really connected with until their American Gothic album came out. And that one I really got into, reviewed it here on Heavy Metallurgy when it was released. And Marty's like, oh, you like that one? Let me send you something. Because he had this. I guess you didn't connect with the band too much. And yeah, this one's pretty cool. It's, the band's out of Colorado. Their whole thing is, it's an Americana theme, but it's, very Western flavored. It's like, 1800s, early 1900s, westward expansion kind of era. And the thing that's neat about it is they do avoid a lot of the common tropes. They're not just doing, cowboys versus Indians kind of things or anything like that. It's more of just kind of a somber look at, what happens, as you pushed all these cultures to the side and almost drove, these different, species to extinction. There's just kind of, it's not just, the grand tale of manifest destiny. It's kind of, the inexorable push westward that just couldn't be stopped for anything. Lyrics are very kind of, poetic and somber that way. On this album, yeah, you get this one plays into the themes a little bit more. It's kind of set up, loosely as a concept story, with acts and the gunslinger duels and stuff, but done in kind of a grand theatrical way, not in just a cheesy B cowboy way or in a Hollywood Western type way. So yeah, I think they did a better job with the ideas on American Gothic. That one gets more into again, turn of the century, pre-Dust Bowl Western themes and stuff, and just paints a very dark picture of the landscape. This one, I like the concept a little better than the execution. The execution's not bad at all, but I think they kind of really nailed it down on the album that came after this. I haven't checked out a lot of their earlier stuff yet. People really rave about the World's Blood album. I've previewed that one a couple of times. I've never really fully absorbed it. And I know there's one or two that came before that, which again, I've heard a song here and a song there, but I'm okay going at a pretty slow pace with Wayfarer. I don't feel the need to, rush out and buy the whole discography at once. The albums take a little getting used to, but it is interesting stuff. They've got their own kind of, vibe with, this, Americana Western thing, seen through a black metal lens, but a very sort of a sludgy, ambient, black metal lens. It's odd, it's unique, but it kind of works for me. So, Marty, thank you for sending that one my way. I've enjoyed revisiting it recently.
It's decent. I just didn't foresee myself listening to it much, and knowing you were into it, I'd rather go to somebody that cares.
Yep. No, it's been it's come back off the shelf a couple of times in the past few years to keep revisiting.
I think they should tour with Falls of Raros. I thought that would be like a neat pairing.
I think that, something like that would definitely make sense. Yeah, people compare them to Panopticon a lot of times, but whereas Panopticon's like the Appalachian Americana, people I think want to make Wayfarer like the Rocky Mountain Americana version. So they don't sound that much alike, but I get why they're trying to compare the two, that they're both drawing on different, sort of folk in American folk music influences just from opposite sides of the continent.
All right. Yep. This one hasn't been on the table in a while, and it was another get us in trouble here. Merciful Fate.
Whoa.
The Ravon
She's
EP.
a witch.
Nuns Have No Fun is what most people call this affectionately. And and Alan hooked me up here. I got a copy of this on eBay back in the day for a pretty good price. Didn't have the lyric sheet. Alan had a spare lyric sheet laying around. So
wow.
That worked out It's a miracle.
Glad I could complete that item for you.
Yeah, hell yeah. And again, this is just a 4-song EP. Corpse Without Soul, Nuns Have No Fun, Doomed by the Living Dead, and Devil Eyes. Early Merciful Fate. And it sounds great. This thing, whoever had this didn't listen to it much. They probably taped it. They listened to it once, recorded it, because it's just heavy and good. And man, this era of Merciful Fate, the Sherman and Denner guitar duo, my favorite guitar duo, one of my favorite guitar duos, and they're just magic on here.
Mm-hmm.
But these songs, Doomed by the Living Dead, Devil Eyes, they did not. Corpse Without Soul too. They didn't really go on to be on any full-length albums. It's kind of a rising out of that demo material, and these are just some more thought out, more fleshed out songs. It's cool they made it on the EP though. Great stuff. Great era. Great music.
Is there some reason they can't commercially re-release that officially? It's just always been a boot, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a boot. Was it this Ravon stuff was official, wasn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the Ravon was. But in terms of reissue, I feel like that finally got reissued. But yeah, I don't know if something held it up for a while. Because you're right, Ben. There was a ton for a long time. It was just a lot.
I think they put it on that the beginning a Roadrunner collection. It's got the volcano erupting on it. I think that's on there, isn't it?
Is the whole EP on there, or is 3 out of the 4 songs on there?
The whole EP and then the 12 inches on there. And
okay.
I could be wrong.
You're probably right. I don't remember. I haven't pulled out that in the beginning comp in a long time.
Yeah. I love how nerdy we get mulling over these minutia little facts that nobody cares about. If you care about these facts, your home is here.
We get it right sometimes. If not, the chat straightens us out. But.
Right. This is an opportunity for us to all correct each other and get on the right page.
Yep. All right, Ben.
A lot of great stuff. I can't really decide what's next. I don't know. Back to the A box from when I was messing around in my basement. This has been a fun one to revisit.
Oh, that's a good album.
I just got that a couple months ago, and yeah, it's really cool.
It's been a long time since I spun this one, and I picked this up when I was probably 22 years old or so. And I was really lucky to pick it up, but I've probably played it 5 times since then or so. But it's really, really, really good. Gothenburg, I think. Death metal. Anyway,
I think you're right.
Swedish
I think they're Gothenburg, yeah.
So you can kind of hear that style, but they were really reaching for Floridian kind of weirdness, just really trying to be.
They're from Stockholm, actually.
Stockholm.
50-50 chance.
it's weird, but for the time period, there was only so much you could really get away with being weird, especially on Nuclear Blast. But it doesn't lose any of its just impressiveness. It's nothing super original, but every once in a while the riffs on here are just unbelievably good. Just everything is so perfectly well balanced, and it's Skogsberg produced it, so
they did kind of put in the right mix of psychedelic weird riffs on occasion. They didn't go crazy with it, but when they did it, just enough to set them apart,
Yeah, it's not like, if you're a little scared of something like Atheist or Cynic or something like that, this isn't really all that bridge too far. It's awesome. It's super heavy.
Yeah, really good vocal performance on it too. That guy really belts it out.
Yeah, that's a real highlight. I know they did a reissue campaign of their demos, I think a couple years ago. I thought about picking some of that up. Just never really got around to it. Shipping was kind of big. Awesome band. I don't know. Never really saw if they did anything else after that, or
they did one album, but it's a different style, I think.
Oh, that's right.
It's
They were called Afflicted
metal.
Convulsion before they dropped the Convulsion.
Yeah. Because isn't the second album Manowar influenced or something?
Oh God.
I don't think I'm making that up.
It's called Dawn of Glory. Ooh.
Yeah. They go a total Manowar worship kind of thing. I haven't heard it. This is from multiple other channels and sources, but yeah, and I don't know if it's bad or cheesy or actually kind of good, but yeah, folks said they kind of went totally hail and kill on that one.
Looks like it came out in 95. Oh, that's a bad cover. And
it has a different vocalist too, I'm pretty sure. I think that guy left after that one album.
Yeah, there's 2 reviews on Metal Archives. It gives it a 66%, and it says muscular European power metal. So that's a weird shift in a weird paradigm shift for sure.
And the title of one of the reviews is, remember when Michael Jordan started playing baseball?
That's hilarious. Yeah.
And they didn't even use the logo either. Wow. It's just like, forget who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it strikes me as one of those bands that, just evolved so fast that they kind of quickly left behind what was making them special before they even realized it was making them special. That, they were just like, oh yeah, that was so 7 months ago, and now 3 members have changed, and we're all listening to like Tangerine Dream and Hail to England all the time. We don't care about death metal anymore. They weren't the only band to do that. Yeah, it was the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe not the Manowar part. That might be them.
All right, Alan, you're up.
All right, let's see. Let's get this last piece of vinyl off the table, and then we'll do CDs later. Hadn't played this in a while, but it turned out pretty good. It's the Stormkeep EP. Kind of sticking to Colorado for one more release here, I suppose. This is the EP that came out before the Tales of Neverwhere album that made a bit of a splash a few years ago. Doesn't seem like the band has followed up on any of it very quickly. They have that one like instrumental dungeons and thing. Since then, it's been about it. But yeah, the EP it's quite good. They're good at that kind of melodic strain of black metal that isn't too it does lack in terms of the grim raw frostiness. If you're looking for that kind of sound that Ben's described earlier, Stormkeep is not the place to look. They're not delivering that. First couple times I played this, I was like, I guess it's okay. But revisiting it, it's like, if I'm in the mood for that style, Stormkeep does it pretty well. It's not a style I find myself in the mood for really often in the past couple of years. But at the same time, this fits the bill pretty nicely. This one's a little more straightforward. The production's a little rougher than the album, which works in its favor. And the album, of course, has this big. It's a concept album with their own fantasy universe. Clean up the vocals and put some elf ears on those boys, and you've got the next Elven King record in the works. But this one doesn't have any kind of concept to it that I'm picking up on. So it's just a little more. Here's some tracks. First EP. Let's try it out. Yeah, it's on the band's on Van Records. It's one of the more accessible things on Van. I like the label. They've got a lot of interesting projects, but Stormkeep is definitely one that there's a reason that one has kind of caught on more than a lot of Van projects. They have stuff like you can have Stormkeep, which again, yay, wizards and a big map showing all the made up countries we thought of, or there's that band that sings completely like an ancient Norwegian, and the albums are 75 minutes long and all based on ancient Viking poems, which is cool as shit, but that ain't going to bring them in like fantasy maps of elves and wizards.
Unless you're Kellen.
Unless you're Kellen. Kellen, yeah. And I want to like that band more. It's just, man, that stuff takes a long time to get through.
Yeah.
I can't remember their name. It begins with an A.
Something.
Lipsons.
Yep, that's the one.
There you go. Thank you, Ben.
I've got like 3 of their double albums, and they're amazing, but it's so much to take in.
Yeah, exactly. I got introduced to them with their EP that came out a couple years ago, and that felt like a really good length. It was like, this is cool. 2 songs, 22, 24 minutes, like 12 minutes of track. Cool. Mm-hmm. Then the album came out, and it's like, that one just kind of beat me down. I will revisit it someday, and I will conquer those shores. But I gotta work on my longboat crew a bit before I try that one again. Not ready to go total Linda Farm on that one just yet.
I should pull up that Stormkeep again. That has some great riffs on it.
Yeah,
I prefer the full length. I like the full length better than the EP, but
the full length is better produced. It's better written and stuff. But the EP holds up better than I thought it was going to. So I'm glad I pulled it out and gave it another spin.
Over to you guys. Yep. Here's another classic. Just been
Kiss.
rolling in the German stuff. Eternal Devastation, Destruction.
Never heard
classic.
of it.
Yep. always love the cover art on this thing. It's
Yeah.
very colorful and iconic, and it's the way the whole thing's laid out. It's just very old school. I don't know. I dig it. And this absolutely sizzles. It sizzles on cassette and sizzles on vinyl. That guitar sound is crazy. It's thin as possible, but it somehow works. The way these riffs are just technical. It's like you're reading some sort of a strange instruction manual of some of these riffs, but somehow Mike sculpt them into a thing that actually is memorable. The songs have hooks, and that's what I always really appreciate about, especially the German thrash stuff. And you get bands like Corner who aren't German, but technical, but still memorable. Death Row, another band that went really technical and maintained a hooky quality to their music. So classic. I really love this band up through Release from Agony. After that, it's good. There's some good stuff here and there, but you can't deny the classics. The classics are just unbeatable.
Not a fan of the least successful Human Cannibal?
No. I did like Crack Brain though. Crack Brain had its moments other than the My Sharona cover, but I listened to that on a walk the other day on tape. I had the Walkman and like walking around the Civic Center here in My Sharona. I'm like, what the hell were they thinking when they pulled?
Every time you bring that up, Marty, I go, after we log off the show, I get one of those little Men in Black memory eraser things, and I clear my mental space. And 2 weeks later, you bring it back up.
Yep.
I wouldn't do a whole stream on it, but that would be a fun topic to gather up, like the most regrettable covers that metal bands have ever done.
That has actually been on the sheet, isn't it? I think that's on the.
We did cover songs about this time last year, but it was just more like fun covers. It wasn't like most regrettable covers. That would be the most shameful covers. Boy, I can think of some. That would not be a hard list to generate. I don't.
No, it wouldn't be. That's a good idea.
Mexican Radio.
Mexican Radio.
Left nut.
Eleanor Rigby by Realm off their
any Beatles song.
Yeah.
There's a Canadian band that did a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia on their EP.
There we are. Yeah, it's got to be.
Voivod's Batman.
I can think of at least two bands that have covered the Supremes, like Stop in the Name of Love Supremes. It's like, you're a metal band. Give me your battle vest now. You are no longer a metal band. You're covering Diana Ross. Fuck you and go away.
Yeah. All right, Ben.
Only AC could pull those off.
Right.
Oh, by the way, check out this cool patch.
Wow, nice.
Cool. So, I'm not doing a year-end list, but I would if I was. This would be my year. This would be number one. Stungar Regal.
That's a good album. Yeah.
Ooh,
okay. I've wanted to check that out and just have not got to it.
I'm glad you've heard this, Marty. This is essential. Harkening back to the 90s. Kind of.
I got this one too, but I don't have the debut.
It's all very, very quality.
You told me to get the debut and it came out and I didn't listen to you. And now I'm like trying to get the debut. I'm like, fuck, I should have listened to Ben when he told me to get it.
I don't have an extra. I do have it on both formats, but excellent stuff. It's harkening to a lot of the late 90s European kind of folky kind of stuff. And I think the way they pull this off so successfully is that they're incorporating some folky stuff, but I feel like a lot of times the songwriting, while it walks away from being black metal, I think it winds up having more similarities with like 70s prog rock played on non-metal instruments, and they incorporate that in and do a lot of variations upon the themes, and sometimes it sounds kind of cheesy, but they maintain that level of cheesiness kind of throughout the whole album, and it never goes too far. So I think it gives the cheesiness a little bit of validity, and it kind of makes it more believable. And for me, that kind of makes it feel like mystical and really foreign and kind of exotic in a way. Really, really awesome. Malacarpatan also one of my favorites, but this is quite different from Malacarpatan if you're thinking it isn't at all. Just great 90s black metal. And I keep hearing parts throughout the album where I think like, oh, that's something I just can't put my finger on it. And I never do, because it's like referencing things in certain ways, but not copying anything. It still winds up being highly original. It's just really, really great. Super well done. I expected them to go more in a folky direction and less metal, but on this one, it's actually maybe a little bit more like kind of in your face. It has a lot of kind of stompy, mean parts to it. And I thought that was a kind of a good direction for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
You're right. They're one of those bands that, again, could go very folky on a release. It wouldn't be surprising.
Yep. All right, Alan, what you got?
Oh, let's see what we have next.
Ben Canto. Oh my God.
Here we go. This came out a couple of years ago. Got a bit of hype and played it a bunch, but it had been on the shelf, and so I played it the other night when my wife and I were just kind of hanging out. The Sumerlands. I think this is the second album, Dream Killer. It's a band that's paying total homage to, again, mid 1980s period. This very much has that kind of 1986 sound. One of the videos they did for it even kind of rips off the Judas Priest music video, one of the ones from Turbo, I think. That the graphics are laid out very much the same. A lot of the camera shots and stuff are very similar to that Priest video. It's well done. It's got Brendan on vocals. He's on this year's Pagan Altar album that came out at the start of the year. Used to be in, maybe still is in, Magic Circle as well. Folks really dig him as a vocalist. He's been in a lot of projects. And this is, it's an easy listen. If you just want, that 35, 37 minutes of, simple, catchy, but well performed, mid 80s nostalgia type thing. Sumerlands works just great. A couple of tracks, have stood out and stuck with me well. But it's not something that's going to get tons and tons of play over the year, I don't think. Just because it is a very simple, straightforward listen. You play it a couple of times, you've got your fix. You're sated on it. Don't need to, play it in and day in and day out or anything like that. But if anybody missed it a couple of years ago and really digs that just, US mid 80s sound that, again, has, more of a commercial leaning. This is not thrash till death. This is not bang your head against the stage. This is, closer to, a Turbo kind of territory, but not as cheesy as that.
Yeah.
So Sumerlands, I feel like if they're going to do something else, maybe we'll see another release in 2026. Feels like it's probably time for them to circle back to that if they're going to. Maybe the project has run its course. I don't know. Again, so as folks have been mentioning with some of the other bands we've talked about, everybody's in so many bloody projects anymore that you never know which projects are going to consistently see attention and releases and which ones are going to do one or two things and then just completely, fall through the cracks. We will see.
No.
All right. Well, I have a twofer here. Going to Wisconsin for some late 80s. Yep, late 80s thrash. Acrofit, Corrupt Minds, and Faded Glory. Both of these albums rip. They rip. It's thrash, but there is a definite, especially on Corrupt Minds, hardcore. There's a bit of a crossover vibe on both of these, but they lean a little bit further into the thrash side of stuff. Really technical riffs, really good, solid screamer, kind of a good yeller. It's one of those. This was on Triple X Records. Both of their albums were. And these guys didn't really get a lot of traction that you can tell right away. A guy in a Minor Threat t-shirt, there's probably going to be a little hardcore mix on in your thrash, which completely fine. Works for me just fine. But they didn't get a lot of traction, but they're really good. And these albums on vinyl sound really good. And it was one of those that I haven't spun in a while. And I listened to, they were talking about it in the Discord. I'm like, I've got those. So I pulled out the Faded Glory, put it on. I'm like, shit, this rips. So I grabbed the other one, listened to them both. Same sitting. More boobs on the cover. I'm the boob guy tonight. Woohoo!
I got it. I gotta see if I got any boobs.
But this is kind of overlooked. I didn't even remember hearing, I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember hearing about this band even back in the day. They're one of those bands that evaded me for some reason. I don't know if Triple X Records just didn't get the a distribution in Camelot Music, because I probably would have bought it if I saw it, because it does have the look, of something I would have bought back in the day.
Yeah.
It might have been kind of scary to retailers with a name like Triple X Records or something.
It could have been. Could
Could
have
have
been.
been. Yeah.
I had that tape.
I've heard the band name for ages, but yeah, never really checked them out myself.
Solid crossover thrash, a little bit more on the thrash side. Definitely not speed metal, Aaron. It's more thrash than speed metal. All
Yeah,
right.
almost crossover. I
Yeah.
had one of those tapes. It was a little too hardcore for me, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I dig it. All right.
I bought it at a church sale for 10 cents.
Did you go straight to hell after you bought it?
That was such an epic haul. That was the first time I bought anything by Halloween. I got Keeper of the Seven Keys.
At a church sale.
I think Zentrix was in there too. Exodus, Fabulous Disaster was also in there. That was like I was 19 and I didn't know what I was doing buying 80s thrash stuff because my friends were not into that at all. And Halloween just instantly ruled.
Yep.
Anyways,
they had those in the church sale for profiling purposes, Ben, and you walked right into that one.
Sure, all day.
He's the boy we'll have to keep an eye on and pray for.
Pray for me all fucking day you want. Waste your time. Another favorite from this year. Didn't want to believe it was going to be any good. I thought the name was kind of cheesy. The cover is kind of cheesy, but man, I listened to like half a song and I was again ordering it immediately. And harkens back to Warlord. This is Black Sword Thunder Attack.
Oh, nice.
The name is very corny. You would have some boobs if the framing on this cover was
failed.
correct.
They failed.
Right. Just
wasted opportunity.
Like the logo is so big.
Even the logo cuts off. What the hell?
Yeah. I have a lot of qualms about the design on this. And the production to me, so the songwriting is very, very much Warlord. Kind of Lordian Guard, interchangeable.
Yep.
And I am really a sucker for Warlord, as I'm sure you all know.
Warlord was way better than Lordian Guard. Way better.
True. Yeah. The execution was so much better.
Yep.
And so they managed to capture that spirit very, very well on this. I'm not sure if it's like a female singer, but the vocals are very like high register. Not a detractor really whatsoever, but they really, really capture the magic of Warlord quite a bit for me. What I would like to see them do in the future, if they're watching for some reason or something, I felt like they kind of intentionally made the album sound kind of crappy, kind of plasticky. It's like they turned the treble knobs in the wrong directions, or just kind of like made it sound too 80s in a way. And like, yeah, Lordian Guard sounded like shit, but Warlord really never had a bad production at all. So I really think that was necessary to make this album sound kind of crappy. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe they just didn't have the budget for it. I don't know. They're from Greece. But the songwriting was excellent. I think there's a lot of potential here. It's one of my favorites of this year. And I think a lot of people would agree. It's on No Remorse. Might still be able to find copies of it out there, but I spun this quite a bit. Kind of came upon me in like late spring, early summer. So it was one of those things I was listening to out in the garage and yard as I was working. But very, very catchy riff wise and vocal wise. If you haven't heard that, the name is so cheesy. I just can't accept that.
Yeah, I think Nameless Grave may have copies of it still for sale, and they may have like a Black Friday thing going on if folks are looking for it. They've had it in stock. I don't know if they currently do.
I may still review it. The Lamp of Murmur. We'll see. We're supposed to do it with Rick, and I just dropped the ball. I know
you were talking about it, so yeah, that's why I let American Leather know.
You got to show the guy from I don't know what's that movie. I Love Lamp. I love Lamp of Murmur.
Yeah, from 40-year-old version. No, Anchorman.
That's it, Anchorman. Yeah.
All right, Alan.
All right, let's do some old school Polish black metal.
Got me interested.
Christ Agony, Damon Seth, Act 2. This one I just stumbled into a copy a couple of months ago. I heard it on a tape trade ages and ages ago with someone sent me a bunch of stuff from Poland, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. I found the third one, Moonlight, Act 3 album, not too long after that, but I never did find, a copy of Damon Seth. Didn't realize how different the lineups are between the two albums, but yeah, apparently, pretty much they reinvented the band in between the two albums. I think I still prefer Moonlight over this one, maybe just barely. Pretty comparable. I like them both. Yeah, if folks have not heard Christ Agony, they do a good job of getting into this, kind of trancey style of black metal. It's not overly complicated. There's a lot of repetition to the riffs and such, but it generates a lot of tension and atmosphere. So it works really well for the music. And again, they were one of those very early bands on the Polish scene. It was kind of them and Behemoth for a little bit. And then when you got into a lot of the more political bands started up, and actually Christ Agony was one of the bands they kind of, got pissed at because Christ Agony wasn't into the political stuff. And it's like, okay, who cares? Just enjoy your political circle if that's what you're into. Christ Agony, as far as I know, they're still around. The main guy still has released albums pretty recently, I think. I haven't really checked out any of the more recent stuff, though. I lost track of them after Moonlight Act 3, so I can't speak to the newer material. But it was kind of cool.
The new album's great.
Oh, okay. The only thing
came
I
out
wish...
2025. Yeah.
Oh, it was this year. Okay, I knew they had something recently. I didn't realize it was this year. The only complaint I have about this
catalog.
Yeah, the only thing I have a complaint about with this reissue is the original is laid out a little closer to the corner design, where part of the cover is black and the logo is on the black vertical stripe, and the artwork is takes the other 2/3, which I think looks really sharp. With this one they expanded the artwork to fill in the whole cover, which is okay. It doesn't look bad, but I really like the layout and design of the original. But the original press is harder to find, a lot more expensive, so. Just coming across this for a good price, I can live with the different artwork and enjoy revisiting the album. Yeah. So, Ben, do you like that one?
That one and this one's really, really good. Really bass heavy.
Oh yeah, that's the debut, right? Yeah,
kind of Samuel-ish. Yeah, that's the first one. I think I have the first 3, maybe 4.
The first 3 seem to be the ones folks are familiar with if they know the band.
Yeah,
but no, if the new one is good, that's cool. I never got around to checking it out, but I noted it had dropped.
All right, I am up next, I guess, and I have to clip my metal card on this. I had a little spell with Cocteau Twins the other night. Spun
great band.
Yeah. Started with this Garland's, their debut full length. I love this record. This thing is just ethereal. The guitars are so shrill and trebly. It almost sounds like black metal minus the metal. There's just and then her voice is very ethereal voice over the top. And she has a weird vibrato. It's very mechanical sounding and cold. I don't know. It's just a very interesting, good album. And then I had 3 singles. I've got, God, I can't read it. Sunburst and Snowblind. Just a handful of songs on each of these. This is I don't know what this one is. I can't read it. 3 songs. They're 480. This one is not a 480. This one was severely warped. This is a Bluebeard. So yeah, I had a little spell. This is 480. If you know, you know. It just had Dead Can Dance was on this label, I think, for a hot minute. A lot of these more dreamy type post, I don't know, I don't want to call it post punk because it really isn't. It's like post alternative. I don't know what you would even classify this as. It's just really good. It's not really goth. It's just kind of lives in this realm where it's gothic, it's somewhat alternative, it's somewhat post punk. It's just
they touch on all those things.
They touch on all those things, but they stand alone from it. It's like the 4AD sound. If you know, you know, I guess. But
they were one of the first very early goth, like proto goth bands.
Yeah.
We listened to them quite a bit. I love them.
That's all I have by them, and just the 1 full length and 3 singles. I need to invest a little bit more because I know they put out some albums, and what I've heard from all of them have been good. So good stuff. It was a fun little listening sesh.
There's another one kind of along those lines. Robert Smith from The Cure did an album with Susie from the Banshees and a band called The Glove. And
Oh
then,
yeah, the bass player from Susie and the Banshees and Robert. They did the Glove. Yeah,
Blue Sunshine or something like that.
and he was on the album, the Susie album, Hyena.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Which is a great album. Great guitar player.
Yeah.
Basically, they just got together and did a ton of drugs, and he did a tour, the Nocturne. They did that live album Nocturne, and he did the Hyena, and then toured with them.
Yeah.
Did tons of drugs, apparently.
Another one I owned way back in the 90s and got rid of for some reason.
Why do we do that? Why? There's like all these times I'm like, I used to have that. Damn it.
There's a lot of hard question to answer, but I think you get sick of something, you feel like you have too much of something, or there's just too much something coming out, and you're just like, I don't need this. I've got no use for this. It's boring. I don't know. It's like we could talk a whole long about it, but anyways, Mythos with Pain Amplifier.
Yeah, that's a good album.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of looked it over and thought this looks like a half-ass black metal record for the longest time. And finally snatched it up, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it's not. It presents as that, but it's not.
It does.
It's like a satanic death metal album, but I think the argument could be made that this is like blackened death metal.
Sure. Yeah.
Or like it's death metal that's so satanic that, and like, but stylistically and musically, it's really simplistic in like the way Blasphemy was, or I don't know. I can't really think of any other Black Death from the mid 90s Finland that would be comparable to this, but it doesn't matter. It sounds great. It's colossal, really, really dark and pummeling. Yeah, it's not highly original, and like I understand why I got rid of it back in the day. It's kind of one-dimensional, I guess.
That's their only full-length album too. They did a EP afterwards called Dark Material, 4-song EP.
There's a 10-inch reissue of their demo that I want to get, and then there's that Vociferous and Machiavellian Hate split they did with a bunch of other bands. But this is worth getting. Vic Records just did a reissue 2023 or something like that, so you should be able to find it. I think I got it from Dive Bomb on Discogs, but I was really, really happy to throw this in and crank it the other day. The tone on it is really, really great. Irish? No. Finnish.
Yeah, they're Finnish.
They don't really get talked about as often as I think they deserve to be along the Finnish gods.
Hell yeah.
I think it may have been more of like a side project than like a focused band. All those guys were doing a ton of different stuff back then.
All right. Good pick. I haven't considered that in a long time. Sits on the rack over there collecting dust.
Same here. I hadn't thought of that in ages. Very cool. But yeah, I remember seeing it advertised all the time. I had the same reactions. I was like, that just looks generic as hell.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's go with some kind of traditional leaning into power metal here from Sweden. Hadn't played this in a hot minute or two. Nocturnal Rites, Afterlife. This is album number 4. And it had a big lineup change. They let go of their vocalist, Zach Erendrickson. He had been the vocalist with Gotham City back in the early 80s. And Nocturnal Rites had a weird history because they had started out as more of a death metal project, which is why it's an unusual name for a power metal band. They kept the name. But yeah, it was a very young band when they did their debut album around 95 or 96. But they had this guy who was a good 10 years older than them as their vocalist with Zach. And I really liked him on the first 3 Nocturnal Rites albums. I thought he had a great sound for them. Those are all great albums. So yeah, I was really sad to see him go when this album came out. And this album, they reinvent themselves a little bit. You can kind of tell, even just from the band photo, they're leaning away from, the traditional. The first rounds, had a good dose of the fantasy sword and sorcery stuff, but done really well, not done in a cheesy way. But on this one, they're going for a little bit more of a modern sound. This came out around turn of the century. Maybe it was 2000. I don't remember. But yeah, it's actually extremely good, especially the first half of the album is really kick-ass. The new vocalist works fine. The guitar performances are what really put this one kind of over the top. They use some kind of unusual effects, but they're done extremely well. They give the guitar playing a lot of character. And it's just like a very good, heavy set of songs. It's not cheesy power metal whatsoever.
Yeah, a little weight to them.
Yeah, there's a little more weight to them. There's a little bit of darkness to some of them. Not trying to be, true cult or anything like that. Just, again, it's not like, happy-go-lucky fairies and, unicorn kind of power metal. It avoids all the stereotypes of European power metal is what I'm trying to get across here. For example, there are folks I know who really are not into, this era of power metal from Germany or other countries, but they like this album and they like this band. So they always navigated things pretty well. After this, their catalog is still good, but the next few albums are a little bit samey. They're not bad. They just feel like, well, it's kind of like they made the same album about 3 times in a row, which, they didn't need to do. But this one still stands out. So even though it was a kind of jarring lineup change, they pulled it off quite well and still gets played from time to time. Nocturnal Rites Afterlife, one of the overlooked albums. They've never gotten a lot of attention. People tend to gravitate more towards, Lost Horizon or the bigger name German bands. But Nocturnal Rites are, very much can go toe-to-toe with any of those types of acts.
Yep.
The Radical Research guys mentioned the Grand Illusion the other day in a podcast episode, and I was like, I haven't thought about that band in a really long time. I kind of need to know where I should enter. And I just randomly played that one. They were just saying that's a 10 out of 10 total banger. Every song is perfect. And I was like, wow, I really never expected them to pull something like that, especially from like 2005. And it's an excellent release. I loved listening to it. And now Jay had a question, and I'm wondering too, like, is any of their stuff actually death metal early on?
By the time the first album comes out, no, they're already in classic Swedish, epic heavy metal territory. I don't know if there's any demo material that came out before. Let me take a look and see.
They have a couple. I just don't know if they're death metal or not. Yeah, looks like rehearsals.
Yeah. Okay, so they had demo stuff going back as far as 91. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those are. More in the death metal style. I don't know exactly when they changed directions. Let's see if I recognize anything on the 93 demo. No Forlorn Love. All right, none of these tracks on the 93 promo made it onto any of the albums. So some of that stuff, any of the promo stuff, it's possible. I've never seen a collection of any of that stuff put together or anything. But then let's see. Which one did you say you listened to, Ben? Grand Illusion?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think that is the one I don't have, oddly enough. But yeah, my wife really likes the band too. We actually saw them live at Prague Power maybe 10, 12 years ago. Absolutely mind-blowing. They were the best band at the festival, and they screwed up and didn't let them play an encore. They when they lowered the curtain, they, of course, were going to let the band go back out, but some of the techs mistakenly went out on stage and to start taking stuff down. The band were just like, "Oh man, I guess we're done." Just left. And then later, folks were like, "But you're supposed to play an encore." Like, "Oh, we didn't know. We thought, well, sorry, we thought you wanted us gone." And like everybody afterwards, they did come out, do autographs and stuff. And everybody was just telling them, just like, "You guys are amazing. You're the best band here." And you could tell the guys were just like, "Really? Are you serious? Thanks." Okay. But yeah, it was a real shame they were going to play 2 or 3 more songs and got cut because of miscommunication.
Were you lucky enough to get to see Spiral Architect play Prague Power in like 2000 or something?
Nope. I was not there that year.
Oh man,
missed that one. Yeah, I didn't go to Prague Power many times. Melissa and I went a few times, but it was one of those things like they've always had bad luck with bands backing out, having to get replacement bands at the last second. And they kept adding these little half shows like on Friday night, then on Thursday night, then on Wednesday night. We can't take a freaking week off from work to go, drop.
That's my problem with Baltimore.
Money in Atlanta to see 3 bands a night for 4 nights in a row. That the format kind of got away from them a little bit, I felt. But for folks that can pull it off, that's awesome. It just didn't fit for us after a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's been several bands at it that I would like to have seen. We didn't get to see Wuthering Heights when they played, which was around 2008, I want to say. We did see Seventh Wonder the first time they played, at least. That was a really good set. Anyway, I'm getting us off track. Sorry, Marty. Get us back onto something we've been spinning.
We're here to jibber jabber. All right, well, here we go. Everybody get ready to drink. This is just the way this rolls. This band is always in my playlist. It just is. And next week we're talking about this album, Gambling with the Devil by Halloween. I've also been spinning this one, Better Than Raw, which was also kind of on the list, as was My God-Given Right. I ended up picking, I wanted something with a little bit of aggression. I could have done Seven Sinners as well. I just wanted something that Jim might, appreciate a little bit, because I think this is going to be a hard one for him. But yeah, this is the Darris era, and I love the Darris era, and I love Halloween, and the fact that you listen to these albums, and they're the 90s albums might be one or two songs a bit long. That's just kind of the way the industry went. But this band has always been really good at pacing and dynamics. And you start off the album strong with a aggressive speed metalish type of riffing, and they can go from that to more of a commercially accessible type of song, and to more epic tracks. And they're just, they kind of take you, throughout these albums on a wave, instead of just constant hammering or a constant commercial attack. There's a lot of variety on these albums, and the musicianship, if you listen to it, if you don't like the vocals, you go beyond the vocals and listen to what the guitars are doing. It's impressive as hell. It's just absolute. They don't phone this shit in. Even on the more commercial songs, there are riffs for days. There's layering. The solos are like songs within songs. I've always been amazed by this band, and as they've gone on, they've just improved as musicians, and they're just such a well-oiled machine at this point. But
incredible bass playing, great drumming throughout a ton of their stuff.
Yeah, Marcus Grosskopf's bass lines. I've been watching people do bass covers of some of the songs, and it's like, holy shit, you don't really realize what's going on in the bass, but it's busy. It's busy and tasteful, tasty stuff. But
that was one of the first things I glommed onto with Keepers One. Like, I was like, the bass player is like audible and doing cool stuff, and the drummer had tons of interesting patterns and stuff. I didn't even know how metal drums should be, but I was like, this is engaging in so many different ways.
Yep. And really, this album right here, Better Than Raw, it's got Uli Kush on drums. He's a fantastic drummer. I mean, Danny, the guy they got now, is a great drummer. He can kind of fill every position. He can play the Ingo stuff really well. He can play Uli's stuff really well, but Uli Kush had a lot of flash, and he is an excellent player, and he wrote great songs, like on here, Revelation. What a fucking ripping song. Uli Kush wrote that song. He wrote a handful of songs on this album.
Yep.
This is a band that's always had songwriters in it. They just, all of them contribute. And I think that's why the albums have a lot of dynamics, and they go like the new album. There's songs that are AOR. There's songs that are just ripping old Halloween type songs. And there's, kind of weird, dark, poppy type songs. It's just a good mix of shit. And that's what keeps the listener engaged. I think a lot of people lose sight of that.
Yeah. So quick question, Marty, and not to give too much away from the album club, but what made you pick that specific album for album club out of all the Darris albums? I'm just curious. I've
been listening to it a lot, and I'm not over it yet. And I got to say, mainly for the two songs, Paint a New World and Fall into Pieces. I love those two songs. I love them. They're like songs when they end, I listen to them again and again and again, and they're worth talking about the record. I think it's just a good mix of Darris era. It's a good mix of all their styles on one record. I figured this is the one. I remember you saying that you liked it a lot too, and
I think it's one of the better Darris albums for sure.
Yeah, great band. Love them. Ben.
All right, still got quite a few, but I picked this up in cheap in the used bin the other day. Death Strike, fucking death. I didn't really know what this was for the longest time, and I just thought that looks stupid, pretty dumb. And I never master. I'm kind of like, whatever. Speckman's kind of a douche, but this stuff kind of rips. So I just always kind of meant to pick it up. It's surprising, I guess, to hear kind of like a take on Hellhammer. Like, obviously, Speckman heard Hellhammer and was like, "Oh shit, that's what I'm doing," or all these guys, you know. But the vocals are pretty bad on all this stuff. I don't know. This is a 2-disc reissue with live stuff and rehearsals. I've just listened to disc 1. I don't need live stuff of this. It's pretty repetitive and kind of samey, but it's interesting to hear such an early iteration of what would be death metal. It's a lot of fun. It just seems like the exact same chorus on every single song. But like, this is dumb music, so this isn't like highbrow kind of stuff anyways. But this has been fun. I've always meant to pick this up. Just always digging it for the earliest iterations of fun satanic death metal. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about that.
Yep. All right, Alan.
All right, let's see. Another 70s kind of occult, spooky, psychedelic act I hadn't revisited for a while. Apparently, I've been in the mood for that a little bit lately. The Devil's Blood. This cover is very dark, but I'll do the best I can here. It's called Time of No Time Evermore. This band made a bit of a splash during the MySpace era. You know, they had put out a demo. It kind of caught on. They were an early pickup by the Van label. They put out a 7-inch by the band that's quite good. Has a couple of songs on it. Went on from there to put out their 2 albums. And while recording their 3rd album, the band just sort of fell apart. I'm sure the details were finally out there somewhere. They were one of those bands that always wanted to sort of, play up the mysterious thing a bit. So they never, came out and just said exactly why. It's just like, our natural zodiac sign forces, demand that we, drift to different astral states or some bullshit like that. But really, really good in that, again, retro 70s occult rock style. It's the kind of thing that's not metal, but appealed to a lot of heavy metal fans. Another band that has that kind of, spooky, husky, lusty sounding female vocalist. The big thing that made the Devil's Blood work better than many of their contemporaries was the songwriting's insanely catchy. They can do it moody, they can be a little dark, but everything was always very compact, very tight, and very, very catchy. So it was kind of irresistible in a way. A lot of bands in this style, they get all the aesthetics right, but you play the album and it kind of goes in one ear, goes out the other, and you never remember it. Devil's Blood always made sure these things had hooks that were going to stay in your brain for a long time. Really like both the albums. There were some rough demos released that they had been working on for that 3rd album. That release, it's just rough demos. Those songs were not ready to be released. You could tell it was just kind of like, I don't know if they were fulfilling a record contract or if it was just like a last minute, well, hey, we did record a few things. Let's, make a few bucks off of it. But yeah, it was released under the name Tabula Rasa. I don't recommend that unless you're just really diehard and want to hear what they were working on. But it's not a complete album and shouldn't be viewed as such. But yeah, both Time of No Time Evermore and the 2nd album, great stuff. They did an EP that's also got really good tracks on it that aren't on the albums. So another band that kind of, fell apart a little too quickly. Wish they had stuck around and done some more stuff. Cool act, The Devil's Blood.
Didn't the guy depart from this world? That's why they quit.
I don't, again, I've never really dug into it to see what happened if someone passed away.
It was like a brother and sister thing. The sister sang and then the brother made all the music. Yeah. I think he took his own life. Yeah.
That would explain why they'd have to call it a day. Absolutely.
Or I'm confusing it with a different band. I don't know. It's all mushy at this point up here. So,
yep. Like I said, at the time, all throughout their career, they always kept all their press releases very spooky and mysterious.
I had it backwards. Austin says singer, she committed suicide. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. She had a really good voice for that style of music. It worked quite well.
All right. Well, a little something different. I love this band, this early era, and this is my favorite album from this band. And Midnight Madness and Beyond by GBH. This is on Combat Core. This is when the band started to become a bit more metalized, like a lot of the like Exploited did it too. You know, this whole UK 82 punk stuff, which I love. Here, there's a lot of weight. There's some heaviness. There's some headbangable riffs on here, but they maintain Colin's voice is very punk, but melodious. He can carry a tune. He can scream in pitch, so to speak, or yell in pitch. These songs just come across really, really well. How Come is a great song. Too Much, what a great song. Limp Wristed, Future Fugitives. God, Midnight, the title track. They're just catchy as hell songs. They're heavy. They still maintain the punk sensibility while obviously going a bit more metal. I don't know. This is just after this, I think, was A Fridge Too Far, and that's where things started to get a little too metalized and too silly. I still have the tape. It's okay. And then I kind of lost track. I've kind of lost. I watch whenever a concert pops up of them online. I'll watch it, and they still sound good. You know, they're old and still doing it, man. It's impressive. But for me, this is their peak, and the EPs around this too. What a Bargain and oh shit, what was the name of that other EP? I don't know. They're both really heavy, really good. Good era. This is a good era for the band. Big fan of GBH, 100%.
I didn't know it was actually called A Fridge Too Far.
Yeah. What's the album? Is the call Midnight Madness and Beyond is the name of the album. Great album.
Oh, I thought it was somebody in the comments said A Fridge Too Far is the title of the album.
Oh, this one I'm holding up is Midnight Madness and Beyond. The one that came out after is A Fridge Too Far, and it's terrible. It's okay. Yeah, it's not good.
That's hilarious. That's like Hairway to Steven.
Yeah. There is a remake of the song Checking Out on Fridge Too Far, which is really good. They do it. It's a very aggressive, good version of that song, but which was on one of the EPs, I believe. Anyway, yeah, it's some of you might like it. I was always a little disappointed. They went a little too metal on that one, but yeah, GBH rules.
Huh. What does it stand for?
Grievous bodily harm. It's a police code. Charge GBH is grievous bodily harm is what it stands for. I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. A toilet too far. I'm up next. Okay.
Yep.
I was kind of sniffing around at this band that had a release out in like 2017. You know how you do that thing like, what if they have a new album out? Have I missed out on, yada, yada, yada. They were called Matterhorn, and they had like this, they're from Switzerland, and they had this like Celtic Frost thrash kind of sound to it. Very, very, very good. But they didn't have a new release out. So I just kind of started sniffing around. I thought, what else has the guitar player done? He's been in this band called Death Cult, which is one of the most boring band names I've ever heard, probably. But I was very, very impressed with this. And it doesn't really sound much at all like the Matterhorn or Hellhammer or Celtic Frost at all. This album is called Beasts of Faith. And it's just a really great melding of kind of Stockholm sound, kind of a little bit of early Gothenburg kind of stuff, a lot of Finnish kind of stuff going on. It just really, really harkens back to when all of the great death metal bands had demos out that were trying out new ideas and just kind of getting a little bit experimental. And they just do it really, 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 really well. Super well produced. It's very, very guttural. And this is the kind of thing I think you could put this on for most average death metal heads, and they would just go, yeah, this is great. Pretty good. Sounds like, a lot of other great stuff. But I think if you really, really pay attention to it and turn your ear and you listen for what they're really doing, it's kind of compelling. It's interesting how they're pulling off some things and really, really trying out some melding of different things. You'll hear some kind of demigod stuff. You'll hear some Morbid Angel kind of stuff, some Stockholmy kind of stuff. It mostly lives in the Sweden area, but really, really great mixing of different stuff. Death Cult, Beasts of Faith, and I have another one coming from, I don't know, I had to order it from Europe, and I think it's been like 2 months now, and I think it won't be here till next year.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but Death Cult, great band. I was super blown away.
All
There
right.
are Invictus Productions. I think Invictus is a label I need to look into more. They have a lot of great stuff.
Right on.
I recognize the name, yeah. But you're right, Death Cult is not the kind of name that makes you stop and feel like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, or like this
Doesn't
album
seem
cover,
easy.
just whatever.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
so
exactly, yeah.
unassuming. Yeah.
I would flip right past that in the rack if I
Yeah.
didn't know that it was something to check out.
Thankfully for title, like I put it on and listened to it, and I was like, this is fucking good. And it just got better and better. And I was like, this is really fucking kicking my ass.
The bands that don't put their logo or their name on the cover, I mean, that's how people
know.
flipping through racks. If it's like, oh, this is, you have to stop. And I wouldn't even, the cover's so bland, I wouldn't even look twice at that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bad job.
Bad job. Fail. Do better. Do better. All right, Alan.
All right. Here's something been trying to listen to and hasn't connected with me yet, but maybe someone can shed light on it. I've always meant to check out this band. CD showed up used locally a few months ago, so I picked it up. But yeah, like I said, I'm not connecting with it. It is Aura Noir's Hades Rise.
Oh, I like that album.
It's not bad, but I don't know. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't expecting this. It's what, blackened thrash. It seems very mid-paced, I think, is what's throwing me off. I was expecting something maybe a little more raw or a little more crazy, and it feels like every song kind of just moves at more of a mid-paced tempo. The riffs are fine, but the songs are really basic, 4/4 time, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing too over the top. And so I play it through and I'm just like, well, that's okay. It just comes across as like very average. And I was expecting it to, it's a band I hear people talk about and usually, very positively. So it's like, yeah, I should always check them out. I guess I'm not seeing what the big deal is. I'm not sure if I'm on the wrong album or I'm viewing it the wrong way. What do I need to know about Aura Noir that I am missing that's failing to make this connect?
I'll give you this. I'll give you the good. So the first EP, Dreams Like Deserts, very, very good.
Okay.
The debut, Black Flash Attack, like Devin said in the chat, that's total banger. That's the one you need. The follow-up, I can't remember what it's called, but it's got like a green gear thing on it.
Green Tracks of Hell.
That's it. Yeah. Deep Tracks of Hell.
Deep
very,
Tracks
very
of Hell.
good.
Yeah, Deep Tracks of Hell. That's what it is.
Also really, really good. So you can't go wrong with the EP or the first two.
Mhm.
Then Carl Michael falls from the fourth story accident thing and fucks him up really good. And so I think that album is the first one when he's back to playing guitar.
I think you're right.
So the lineup is kind of like off kilter. They're finding their feet. And Carl Michael is a very restless writer. He wants to change all the time. But Aura Noir is kind of successful. So he has to kind of like toe that line of wanting to be weird, but staying in the same realm. And I think Hades Rise is the first time he starts to incorporate King Crimson influences on guitar. Like very, very big King Crimson influences. And that's a weird thing to merge together. I wouldn't say it's super successful, but if you like that weird kind of riffing, then it's fun. But yeah, it's definitely not a great entry point. And everything after that came after, just it's kind of weird. But the first three, deadly, great thrash.
Okay. That was something in reading some reviews about their catalog. I did notice that folks seem to indicate there was a change on this album compared to the earlier stuff. So maybe I need to back up and try some of the earlier stuff and then give this one another chance once I have a little more context for it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the info, Ben.
Especially if you listen to King Crimson's I think it's called Red.
Yeah,
Very, very
I
similar.
haven't heard it in ages, but yeah, I know the album you're referring to.
Yeah.
All right. I am up next. And Alan mentioned this last week or the week before. It's been in conversation. I realized I haven't listened to this album in a long time. So, creator, Endless Pain. Again, check the price.
Show off.
New Moon Records. My buddy worked there. He's like, yep, another collection of metal. Somebody ditched their vinyl. Don't put anything out until I'm come down there. Yeah, just go crazy. But Endless Pain, 16, 17-year-olds. And, it sounds like it a bit, but these songs rule. Flag of Hate, great song.
Yep.
Bone Breaker, God, just savage. Total Death. This is when Ventor, Jurgen, or whatever the hell his name is, Ventor, the drummer, was doing a lot of, it was kind of 50-50 or 60-40, Milla and Ventor trading off. It was kind of a nice mix. It would give you a little bit of variety, and they did a little bit on Pleasure to Kill, Ride of Violence, of course, but this is really good. It's really good for a bunch of young guys. I love how unique the cover is. Again, it's that Lavre artist, the House Noise International artist. Just has an iconic look to it, and it's just, this album is really, really great. And if I remember right, Flag of Hate is different than it is on the EP.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
right.
There's like different recording of it or whatever. Because I remember getting this after hearing the Flag of Hate EP, getting this and throwing on. I'm like, oh my God, it's a different recording. I thought it was pretty cool at the time. But yeah, this is, does it rival Pleasure to Kill? Not for me, really, but it was really fun revisiting to it. It's revisiting it, listening to it, a lot of fun. They really had a pretty good sense of who they were early on, and they really ran with it. Pleasure to Kill is such an advancement from this album, but not that far removed. You know what I mean? They just got a lot more intense, more savage, faster.
Got better at their instruments. Yeah,
exactly. 100% more confident in their playing ability. And a lot of that was due to Ventor, I think, maybe not singing as much. I think it would probably be hard to sing and play at the same time when you start amping up the speed a bit. But yep, it was fun to revisit this one, and a lot of fun. Good stuff.
Okay, Devin's mentioning that the EP version is like tuned differently.
That's it. Gotcha. Because there was a difference, a noticeable difference, and it I thought it was pretty cool how it was a change.
Well, thanks for the detail there, Devin.
Chat's always keeping us straight. Devin's keeping us straight, everybody. Go check out Maze of Torment on YouTube if you're not familiar. He's got a good channel. He knows his shit, and he's got a very nice collection going over there.
And he's keyed in.
He is keyed in. He is.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's me. Should I go death metal or black metal?
Ladies' choice.
Another 2025. Very, very nice return to form from Eternal Darkness from Sweden. Familiar at all?
Nope. Don't know this.
Nope.
I thought you were going to do
Necroharmonic
Naked Whipper at first.
Demo reissue of their stuff. Maybe 10, 15 years ago or so, but they really just like languished in obscurity, being unknown, but they're one of the best Swedish death dooms bands ever. And I don't think anybody ever expected them to get back together and put out something that feels like they didn't have that 30-year rest. But Pulverized put this out, and I've been really, really impressed with it. Sounds exactly like it came out in 1992. Kind of like Ripiquolu kind of stuff, or Moondark, who also did a return album last year. But Burning Skulls and Oblivion kind of death metal rules. Yeah, some like Austin knows. He's keeping track of the new stuff coming out this year. Best death metal record to come out in the past decade.
Interesting.
Seeing like I watched the Revelation of Doom boards quite a bit, and a lot of them have this at their year-end lists so far. Really, really good stuff.
Oh, CBN says Eternal Darkness have already disbanded again.
Yep. I want to say they broke up the day before it came out.
Oh, geez.
But did they leave anybody stranded at a gas station? All right. Alan.
All right, I'm just pulling up that Eternal Darkness over here, making a note of it to check that out. Yeah, I don't know that one.
Their old stuff's
see.
great too.
Okay, been revisiting this band's catalog. I might do a little video on them sometime in the near future. But yeah, needed to kind of brush up on some of the old classics while also check out their newer ones. They have a new album out this year that I have not heard yet. We were talking about Texas's Hellstar.
Oh yeah,
Not a good album cover.
They're notorious for that.
Their album covers, bless their heart, as we say here in the South. But yeah, it's a problem. It does say Hellstar there somewhere. It's like a Where's Waldo of logos. It's a hidden there. But this is their second album, Remnants of War. I always forget how damn good this album is. Most people gravitate towards, like the third and fourth ones when they were on Metal Blade with Nosferatu and the one before it, Distant Thunder, which has all the different lightning hands. But
Damn it.
yeah,
That's
y'all
my
good,
bad.
Marty? No worries.
I was typing in the chat and I must have hit a prompt that changed the.
No worries, it happens. But yeah, this one is album number 2, so it's before the Metal Blade albums. The Metal Blade albums, are spectacular. They are probably the band's highlight. You've got Larry Brannigan and Andre Corbin as the guitar tandem on those albums, and those two guys together absolutely blow shit away. It's a shame. Apparently, they haven't worked together in a long time. I get the sense there's a little, bad blood there, maybe. And by the way, Andre Corbin's released some new tracks recently. He recorded with Randy Burns. Those are on YouTube if folks want to check out his recent work. Sounds really good. But yeah, this second album is really, really strong. It's really not that far removed from what they would do on A Distant Thunder. It's just, a little different lineup. And that was a problem for Hellstar. Not only did they suffer from really wonky cover art, they also had trouble nailing down a solid lineup. Excuse me. It wasn't until albums 3 and 4 that they retained a core lineup from album to album. The debut to this one, it's basically just Larry and James and 3 new guys, if I remember right. And then from this one to A Distant Thunder, it's Larry, James, and one more member, but there's still at least 2 guys rotating every album. Hard to gain a lot of traction when you have to keep adjusting that many members. This band photo also may or may not have done them a ton of favors at the time. That's a look that you could pull off in the mid-'80s. Wow. Yeah. In the mid-'80s, you could pull that look off. By the late 80s, nobody could pull that look off. But yeah.
I would pick my interest quite a bit.
For folks, Ben, I want to see you in a pair of those boots. That
white boots.
You. Screams you. Yeah, absolutely.
Washbuckler.
You can't handle me from the waist down.
Well, these boots almost go waist up, so it takes care of everything.
Tuck my wiener into them.
I don't think boots go up high enough for that to work on me.
It's getting late.
The dream is crushed.
But yes, if anybody hasn't worked back through the earlier Hellstar albums, the debut is fine. It's not a bad album. But Remnants of War, if you like the albums 3 and 4, you will like Remnants of War. I don't know why I tend to forget about this one. It's great. It really is one of those albums I'll play to death for a while, put on the shelf, and later on I'll just be like, is Remnants of War any good? It will not stick in my brain long term, but I think this time it's going to. I've played it enough over the past month that we're going to make it stick.
I've heard great things about their new record too. Did you see that?
A few folks have said that it's really good. I have not checked it out. They've somewhere along the 2010s they went for like a little bit more intense vibe. James Rivera's vocals. They've had some blackened elements creep in. It sounds
Weird.
okay. It works. Marty, y'all reviewed one of them on the Album Club a while back. I think you did King of Hell. Maybe.
I don't remember which one it was.
I think I want to say it was a Kellen pick, maybe. But
It
it
was
was
a
pretty
Kellen pick.
good.
It was good.
So yeah, they seem to be one of those veteran bands that have come back, have tweaked their sound a little bit without, they haven't reinvented themselves, but they're not just making the same album over and over either. So yeah, the new one's probably worth checking out and that's why I kind of started working through the old ones. I wanted to get more familiar with stuff before I dove into the new one. Just haven't got to it yet. All right, Jim, Marty, I believe it's your turn, sir.
I was on the creator trip. I'm like, I haven't listened to this album in a while either. We've talked about it recently-ish on the show. And Sodom, Obsessed by Cruelty.
Oh,
this is a local. I got this from a local radio station. Writing stars all over it.
Oh my God. Mine's beat to hell too.
But they didn't play it because the vinyl is pristine. It sounds great. It's just been sitting on a shelf for decades and decades. And, putting this on again, it was interesting to refamiliarize myself with it, but it really is kind of amazing how bad this is. It just, the songs
are a glorious mess.
It's a mess. And the fact that, they went on from this to be so much better and they got another chance, and it's good. It's bad in good ways. There's a charm to it, but these guys at this point are not as good as Destruction. They're not as good as Creator.
Oh, no.
They're just their drummer. The old saying, a band is only as good as its drummer. Chris Witch Hunter, he had his demons, but as he went, he got better. Prosecution Mania, Agent Orange. It's interesting. He would throw fills in the middle of verses, just random spot wherever he felt like throwing in a fill. Here we go. I'm throwing in a fill now. It added to the charm. What you got there, Ben?
Oh, just same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's cut out too. Yours was a radio promo as well, probably. Yeah. But what the hell is even on here? Obsessed by Cruelty, of course.
Death Like Silence.
Yep. It's just, I was reminded how sloppy and messy this is. And I like them as they get things worked out a bit better, and it's still cool to throw it on. Again, I was shocked at how good the vinyl's clean. Obviously there's someone wrote all over this for radio play, but I don't think it got much spins because the record's in really good shape. But yep. I had to throw that out, and I know we're going to be doing a Sodom deep dive eventually with Devin in the chat. Maze of Torment. I don't know if we've asked him yet, but you're planned. You're on.
Oh, I think he pretty much invited himself.
Yeah, no, that's fine,
and that's fine. Yes.
But
also, if you ever pick up Black Thrash Attack from Aura Noir, you'll notice the font is
the same
from this, and I think they do kind of like the first riff of a song is taken from one of these songs. I can't remember.
I wonder if you get like Dark Throne doing the song Graveyard Slut, if that's kind of a tribute to Volcanic Slut.
I don't know. I'm not sure, Mark. I think that's a totally different kind of slut.
Yeah, well, he's totally different slut. Yeah.
I wouldn't kick either one of them out of the sack.
Both acceptable in my band.
Taking the kind of slut you got.
Brain Smasher, a Continental, a man for all seasons and all sluts.
Man of the world.
How about a couple more picks? Found this in my local shop, Bloodthorn.
Wow, there you go.
Oh. Yeah, it was I think like $28, double LP. It's got different cover art from the it's up there, but In the Shadow of Your Black Wings.
Volcanic one space. Ay. Off the rails tonight.
What does the graveyard one do?
Is it me that brings out the
put it in her coffin? Oh man, sorry.
There's a bad autopsy tomb of something joke there, and I'm not going to put it together. I'll leave that for somebody else.
Well,
what label's that on?
Bloodthorn is Seasons of Mist.
Okay.
With Merciless, a symbol of quality. Norwegian black metal, but with some kind of bassier, lower register. kind of tonality to it. But it winds up being nicely atmospheric, not Emperor Ways or Kvist or anything like that, but very well done songwriting. It was, I think, produced in Grieg, Holland, if I'm not mistaken. Great band. They had a couple of decent releases after this even that were pretty good, but this one is definitely worth your time. Wow, the chat's going crazy in there. But this early era of Seasons of Mist, they put out some really, really cool stuff, right? Like the first 10 or 15, maybe 20 releases or so that really worth going back to. Around that time I was working a lot and I was kind of making more money, and at that time I was like, I'm gonna buy everything they put out. So I would just call up Redstream and order the new Season of Mist release, and that was a good time. Until they started doing those weird split verses things. It was weird. But if you haven't heard Bloodthorn for any reason, this is the one you want to check out. In the Shadow of Your Black Wings. And it has a different cover.
Jay just mentioned it. Yeah, there's a green cover version. Yep.
Yeah. This one's decent.
Was that one in my basement at one point?
Yeah. Actually, I bought this on Discogs because it was like $2 a couple of years ago, because I never actually wound up getting it at all. Yeah, it's water damage. Fuck.
Yeah. Yep. Good band.
Yeah, another one I hadn't thought of in a long
Holds
time.
up well. I thought I just kind of thought I would pick it up and put it on. I was like, this is actually very great. I've never really got around to owning it. My friends always had it though.
Weird to find in this is weird find in town, right?
Yeah.
Oops. All right. Alan.
Let's see. We got time for one, maybe two more. What else?
I can do two more.
Yep. Let's see. This is another one that came out a few years ago. Played it, liked it, shelved it, but got it back out recently, and it's held up pretty well. It's the debut Holder album, Songs for a Forlorn Peasantry. And yeah, it's been a good project. I enjoyed the second album. It was a grower for me. It took a while, but I definitely enjoyed it. But yeah, this one it was a little more immediate when it came out that it connected. Has just a pretty solid sound. The only thing I would gripe about is some of the synth sounds on this are a little they don't quite work with the music. I think that's the music's going for a pretty good grim darkness kind of vibe, and some of the synthesizer sounds are a little too like doot 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 doot. Has a little bit like the kind of lame late 80s sound, and it kind of detracts from the atmosphere a little bit. It doesn't seem to have that issue with any other Holder material, so I'm going to chalk that up to they tried it, it didn't work, they learned and adjusted moving forward. But other than that, the layout and everything on it is really nicely done. And obviously the project has gotten some attention, deservedly so. It's just really solid modern black metal. And
they get out and tour. They tour everywhere, and that's what you got to do these days to get ahead. Is tour.
They've made a point of keeping the project. They've kept the momentum going. They didn't just put it out there and kind of walk away from it. It doesn't come across as cheesy. It doesn't come across as too contrived. It doesn't shoehorn itself into trying to be raw black true grim, but it also doesn't shoehorn itself into trying to be third wave Cascadian something. It's just like, this is drawing on second wave influences, adding our own touches to it, and there you go. It works. So yeah, it was a good one to just kind of again revisit, brush up on. I've enjoyed it, but you can't listen to everything all the time, and before you know it, a couple of years go by and haven't played Holder. So
did you guys get the Versus and Oath?
Yeah, I like.
Yep, that one's also is a
Turnus influences on there a little bit.
Yeah, Tanner just got done recording with them. I think this new one will be the first time it's like written and recorded by the full band.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Yeah,
nice.
Looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Also, he's kind of like in the band now. He's not just a hired gun. He's in the band.
I believe so. Yeah, I need to call Tanner to catch up.
Right on.
All
right. Well, I can't remember the name of it. We got a promo for it, and I am late checking it out. But there was a Metallica tribute that came out, and Raven did a song on this tribute. I can't remember which song it was, but it ripped. I'm like, wow, you can kind of hear where Metallica got some of their influence from, and it got me kind of itching to listen to some Raven. So I grabbed All for One out of the stack, threw it on the turntable.
Mm-hmm.
Got Wacko in his hockey gear there, getting geared up. Look how young they look. Yeah, this is maybe not my favorite of the first three. This is All for One by Raven, and Mind Over Metal, Sledgehammer Rock, Hung, Drawn, and Quartered. This band is really good. They've always kind of flown the power trio flag, which is cool. They're great live. John Gallagher's voice is an acquired taste, but he's got so much power, and his high end is just searing. Bass work is amazing. Great bass player. He's also in this new band called Helm's Deep, which is on Nameless Grave Records. And it's great. His bass lines cut through that stuff, and he does a little bit of background vocals for that as well. But Raven are always one of those bands I've got maybe five records or so. I don't listen to them often, but whenever I put them on, I really like them. They're just a solid. It's funny that these guys are classified new wave of British heavy metal because they were from that era, but they don't sound like the sound. What do you think, Alan? They're kind of like, it's kind of like the Venom thing. Venom was given that tag as well, but they didn't really fit the mold, really. I think Raven fits it closer than Venom did, but
yeah, no, Raven fit it fine. Raven, they're just on the more energetic, side. Again, I think sometimes
more bombastic. Yeah,
I think sometimes people want to stereotype that you can only call it new wave of British heavy metal if it's slow, dull, and sounded like it was in a pub in 1976. But a lot of the bands had a little more oomph than that, and Raven is a good example of that.
Yeah, a lot of
Venom
power,
is an
outlier
energy from that scene. Yeah, that's fair. But no, I think Raven fits in just fine with it. I got no problem calling that a new wave of British heavy metal.
I've never really gotten into them. I have no qualms. I just really doesn't do much.
They're one of those bands that they never got huge. They had a stint where they're on Atlantic Records and they put out Stay Hard and The Pack Is Back. And both of those albums are kind of lackluster, other than a few songs here and there on both of them. But they're just one of those bands that never exploded. They were kind of at the right place at the right time, but they just didn't, I don't know, different. They were just different than what the market was going, I guess. Yeah. But they kept going, which I applaud them for, which is cool. Yeah. They're still putting out killer stuff.
I mean, they were a classic example of, once they got on Atlantic, label meddling, really diluting the product. And the guys readily admit that at this point. They're like, yeah, we let the label tell us too much about what to do. And it obviously backfired horribly.
Yeah. All right, Ben, last round.
Sure.
Sounds good.
I've been showing this around and I've been just kind of surprised. A lot of people are like, what is that? Never heard that. So maybe I need to get more people hipped on Cities. Annihilation Absolute.
Yep. AJ Pirro from Twisted Sister, the drummer, I believe.
It is, yeah.
Or am I wrong? Is that the wrong guy? One of the guys from Twisted. Okay.
For sure. Just great kind of proto power metal. It's kind of got some New York street kind of style to it. It's just really catchy, just great choruses, great riffs, great songwriting. Everything about it is just like middle of the road. Can't go wrong. Awesome vocals. It's not really amazing or standout or anything, but I've just always thought it was kind of an iconic album cover with God damn. That is unforgettable.
There's two versions of that cover, one with bricks and one without bricks. Something else different.
I think there's an EP that has some of these songs and has
that's what it is.
Totally similar. Yeah, it's like no bricks and then like no bomb or whatever. Which is weird that like Simon was like, no, you got to get the EP. It's totally amazing. And I was like, are you sure? It's things like that are like, that are halfway confusing to me. I'm just like, if I can't figure it out in 3 seconds, I got other shit to do.
They probably spent so much money to have their portraits done in that art. They're like, we're using it twice. Fuck it.
Or like maybe the label only pressed 500 copies of it, and they were like, "We're getting more mileage out of this painting. Throw some bricks and an explosion on there."
Right.
But totally worth your time if you can find this in. I got this for like $30, and it's a OG Megaforce or Metal Blade press. Very, very worth having around. I was listening to this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
my
another
final
one that's got a good following over the years, and yeah, it's one of those pre-thrash metal American metal albums that kind of got lost as soon as the thrash tidal wave started taking over everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Jag Panzer sort of thing.
Yep, yeah, or TKO's later stuff. Wild Dogs, a lot of bands that kind of would have been good contemporaries for them, and then just kind of everyone woke up like, oh wait, thrash metal's a thing, and kind of forgot that all these other bands had existed for the past few years.
Yeah, I was going through some old photos today. I pulled out an old hard drive and I found these pictures from Classic Metal Fest 2005, I think it was, that I went to in Chicago, and there were pictures of Matt McCourt from Wild Dogs. I think he played a Wild Dogs set back then, and it was terrible.
Oh, cool.
But I had this little digital camera I took pictures with. There was a picture of me and Bob from Attacker before he died, before he even gone gray.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to send you this picture from there too, Marty. There's a picture of King, because he did an October 31st set, and he's got this like demon mask on, and his shirt just says "Testament sucks."
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my first experience with King, and I was just like, "This guy is awesome."
Yeah. Good dude. All right, Alan.
All right, let's wrap it up with some doom metal out of the Pacific Northwest. This has been kind of an interesting project, but I feel like they're still kind of waiting for them to drop a real, killer album start to finish. The band's called Purification. They came out right around 2019, 2020. So they were one of those bands people started discovering while, in lockdown with COVID. They were noteworthy on the first few recordings. They did not have a guitar player. So it's basically just like two guys, doing, bass, drums, and vocals. So, it had, obviously a very bottom heavy kind of sound to it, but worked kind of well. It was actually kind of cool. Going for that kind of, very over the top 70s satanic kind of doom vibe, playing it up to a cheesy extent. I think they were trying to be so cheesy that it would be, kind of cool rather than just annoying. It kind of worked. Since then, they've churned out several albums in the past 5 years. I forget if this is like number 5 or whatever. This one is called Exterminating Angel. But yeah, and I've liked some of the stuff on the different albums, but I feel like maybe they're trying to crank out material too fast. They feel like one of these bands that's very much in kind of the Bandcamp mentality of like, gotta keep churning out some tracks, gotta keep debuting something else, gotta have something to hold people's attention. And I kind of wish they would maybe slow down a little bit, take stock of things, because I think they could probably put together a really badass killer doom metal album. It's in them. They've had some great songs. But I feel like every album's got maybe just too much filler on it right now, which to me indicates again that you're trying to churn something out quickly rather than really refine it. And this album's kind of the same way. There are moments where it's like, that's a cool riff, this is a cool portion of a song, but there's also moments where you're just like, I don't know what you're trying to do here. Where is this going right now? This isn't a band that's meant to be overly atmospheric or anything. This is meant to be, out of the Pentagram kind of school. And those bands, you need songs that are going someplace. You can't just meander aimlessly forever. They do lean towards some Reverend Bizarre, so I think they can get away with a little bit of that kind of structure. But there are times it just feels like they kind of lose the plot a bit. So I always keep an eye on them. It's one of those bands that, has promise, shows potential, but I don't think they've delivered that definitive album yet. And with this, again, already having done 4 or 5, hell, they may have a 6th album by now. It feels like it's time to, shit or get off the pot. If you're just going to keep doing this stuff, that's fine, but then I'm going to go ahead and check out. But, take, an extra 6 months on the next one. Really, put something out there that's really going to put your stamp on the scene. That would be my suggestion for Purification. I want them to do well, but I'm getting a little tired of waiting for them to, really knock it out of the park. That'll be my last pick for the night.
All
The
right.
Exterminating Angel is a mushroom.
Is it?
Yeah. That's like many mushrooms have really stupid colloquial names, but that one is like, that's a poisonous one.
I did not know that. That's cool.
It's really
You're
cool.
not, you're not putting that one on your pasta.
Yeah, I don't see that happening at Papa John's or something. Yeah, I'd like the $5.99 meat lovers special, but can I get some Exterminating Angel added to that? Nah, not going to work.
All right, I'll take us home here. We a couple weeks ago we had a viewer's choice on the album club, and they chose Gates of Ishtar.
That was a viewer's choice. I wondered who picked that.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
It was a viewer's choice.
I remember that album being really boring, good but boring, and people disagreed with us. But later on this week, I said I want to be reminded. I would re-immerse myself in that whole era, and I threw on Sacrilege's The Fifth Season. This is way better than Gates of Ishtar.
Yeah,
it's way better. The production's better. The playing is more lively. They got a much better drummer. It's very much from that whole era and location. This has got I guess the key member in here is Daniel Svensson, who was an ex In Flames. He's also in Diabolique with Christian Wallen, who is known as Necrolord, another band that sounds like this whole melodic death metal. And he's now in the band The Halo Effect, who are awesome. It's like all ex-members of In Flames. But yeah, I was really taken. It's been ages since I've spun this, and throwing it on, it's like, man, this thing kicks ass. The production's really bright. The songwriting is really good. The riffs are sharp. The melody lines are right on top of that, the action. And it just reminds me that Gates of Ishtar were kind of just another one of those bands that did everything right, but not necessarily exciting in an exciting fashion. So yeah,
I got this Bible.
Yeah, I got this box set thingy here, the Ghost Malign and all their stuff. And this is the first one I grabbed out of the pile, and dig it. Good stuff. So there you go. Ben, Brain Smasher. It's been exciting and awesome to see you again, as always.
Thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us.
Of course.
Anything going on you want to throw out there to keep an eye on or whatnot?
No. I've got a Patreon with a free podcast on it. I do that most frequently. It's just like an old radio show. It's got a little bit of talking, mostly music. Gonna do a video here sometime. Yeah, that's about it. I've been busy making music.
Right on. Yep. Alan, what's going on with Let's Talk Metal this coming Tuesday?
This coming Tuesday, we'll just we will reveal what I found in the record store at 7:30 a.m. this morning in 28-degree weather, watching a bunch of people fight over record store day albums that I did not care about.
Right? Yeah.
Eric Bauer in the house.
What's up, Eric? You're here just in time to see us say goodnight. But everybody go check out High Defamation TV. Eric is always popping up with some killer new videos, throwing a bunch of
I think he just did the 5 albums I will never part with.
Yep.
Some folks have been doing that one, and so yeah,
I might chime in on that one now.
Yep, Eric's got a video on that.
And yeah, that's it. Everybody have a great week. It's good to see you as always, and take care.
Yep. Welcome to the holiday season.
Hope you got a nice big cheap TV today at Walmart. Stir the fires of capitalism. Anyway, cheers, everybody. We'll see you next week. Out.